Hello, 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 my buddies. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, sir. Wait, hold up. If you hear some talking, it's because I'm probably watching. If you're someone talking, it's because I'm probably watching a video. You want to play this yep, let's go.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG in which you write your own.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever taken a test in school or done something at work and you thought, that went really well, I really crushed it, and then you got feedback? In school, maybe you get a bad grade. At work, you get told that you're an idiot. I mean, hopefully not in those words, because then you should probably quit. But you get my point. Well, in chess, we have something very similar. In chess, sometimes we play a game, and then we get told that we are really, really bad. We thought that we were really good, but no. Unfortunately, that is not the case. That is the purpose of today's video. Today's video is brought to you by a subscriber who sent in his game. Very brave subscriber. That's the whole introduction. I'm not gonna go any deeper than that. We've got a whole playlist of these games on this channel, and every single time I find that some of you just outperform previous games. I mean, y'all send me these games, and I really get to the point that I think they're fake. Now, I reveal for you, and a big surprise for you at the end of this game. As always, both players are going to be given honorary Grandmaster titles. That's not official, but they are featured in this video. And when you get featured in a Gotham video, you get one of these. So Rithwick sent in this game, and let me just tell you right now, Rithwick is a brave guy. So the game opens with pawn to e4. Black responds pawn to e5. So far, so good. Both players have moved their king's pawn to the center of the board. This is also a great move, developing and targeting the knight. Now black will play this, or at noob level, black will go here. Fine. Technically, that also protects the pawn, and you know, you've got eyes over here if somehow white has, desire to lose. Now, I love white's next move. Again, I make these videos to make fun of these players, but also to make fun of you, because you make moves like that, and then I make fun of myself separately. I don't make fun of myself in the context of these videos, because I don't play like this, but I make fun of myself in the context of the fact that I've been playing this board game for over 20 years, and there are 10-year-olds who are better than me, right? So the beautiful thing about chess is you can make fun of yourself, and we can make fun of these players, but you can also make fun of me. And then we can make fun of the best players in the world, because Stockfish is so much better than them. So I love this move by white. Pawn to c3, trying to play pawn to d4. Don't hate it at all. I also would like to see development of a knight or a bishop, but white plays c3, and black just walks directly into getting slapped. I mean, basically, white was already completely planning on playing pawn to d4 to take control of the center. Keep in mind, as a beginner, 2 pawns in the center is a very good thing, and this does, in fact, happen. Now, this is basically the end of the logical moves.
Bro, I'm playing.
And from this point forward, this game is sort of like air hockey. Have any of you played air hockey? You know that game in the arcade with the little puck? And I don't know, is that just an American thing? Do people play this in other parts of the world? And it's like really chaotic. It's like, blah, 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 blah. It's like a super stressful game. So
97!
Black takes on d4.
I'm so good.
And for some reason, white doesn't take back. I mean, I get it.
97%. I'm so
But as a beginner, you really should stay away from moves like this. I mean, basically, you play this move. You justify playing this move by saying, I'm going there. I attack the queen. If he takes me, I take. That's the end of the thought. That's it. Now, what happens when the queen moves and attacks the thing that has no defenders? You didn't think about that, right? You just thought, well, I'm gonna go there. If he takes me, I take. Yeah, but what if they don't have brain damage? What if that? And by the way, people who do have brain damage would still find this move. Nothing, it happens, you know, you get a head trauma, God forbid, all right? Or, I mean, I like, there's like all these stories of microplasticity in the brain, and you could, so, yeah, please, you know, let's be serious. Anyway, pawn takes d4 was much better, except now white does it and just hangs this pawn, right? So now, that's a check, very nice find by black. White doesn't have time to take the bishop. You lost the center pawn, so let's not play like we have self-inflicted brain damage, right? That's probably a better way to describe it. So, queen e2, okay? Yeah, so it's better here for white to just develop the bishop and castle. You're down a pawn already. You kind of don't want to start trading pieces. If you start trading pieces, you're not really going to be able to fight back later on in the game. Black takes the queen, bishop goes here, and now I would like to draw your attention to something. So, in chess, you know, sometimes things are very simple. The pawn is attacking the bishop. How do we get out of a threat? We move. How many safe squares does this bishop have? 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5. Now, I wouldn't recommend going bishop f8, but it's fine. 5 safe moves. The best part is you don't even have to move the bishop. I mean, you should, but you can create equal or exceeding danger. You technically could go here. Yes, you would lose a pawn in the process, and it's not a good move. What you shouldn't do is Now, keep something in mind.
What is that
These
move?
players are playing 15-10. They get 10-second bonus every time they make a move. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but if we take 1431 and subtract 10 seconds, because that's what black got, that means they played this move with 1421 on the clock. Black had this many safe moves, and in 2 seconds went here. My friends, if you want to play games that give you such immediate feedback, play Overwatch. I played Overwatch 1 for like 2 straight years. It was an addiction. I got out. But play Overwatch. Pew, 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 pew. Like, what are we doing? And white just takes. And now black realizes, what have I done? And all my pieces are on the home rank. H6. Yeah, I kind of wish you played that move, you know, earlier. White now retreats. So white is now up a full bishop. Technically, very, very small detail. Black has 2 extra pawns. Black actually has 7 pawns and white has 5. So it's not as bad as it looks. It's +4 on the computer because, of course, the engine, like, you know, sees a bunch of ways to win. Black develops the knight, white develops the knight. Okay, tremendous. Black plays pawn to d6. If I'm playing with white here, I may consider wandering over here and trying to attack this pawn, but I absolutely cannot criticize the move short castle. Black also castles. Now, for some reason, the players played a series of grandmaster moves after losing a bunch of pieces for no reason. White now plays this very powerful move, pawn to h3. Now, these players are playing way too fast. Again, I criticize several things. I don't understand why y'all boot up games where you get 15 minutes on the clock, and 20 moves into the game, you have more than 15 minutes on the clock. What are you doing? I mean, just play bullet, right? Like, play a game which incentivizes speed. Anyway, black plays c5. Again, don't hate this move. It's very difficult to play down material. Now, with white, I would venture over here. Right, you got to be careful. You got to not get taken by something. But knight b5 is a nice move because not only does it threaten the pawn, it also threatens the empty square. As a noob, you have to see threats on physical pieces and threats on empty squares, which then lead to something. White retreats back to c2 after spending 1.5 minutes, either because there was, you know, delivery at the front door, or they had to, you know, wipe in the toilet, or, you know, they actually spent some time on this move. Black plays bishop f5. Great move. Excellent. Develops a bishop, targets the weak knight. You can either protect the knight, or you can move it. Okay, I guess the challenge was put the knight on the worst square possible. No problem. Challenge succeeded. You got a little banner from chess.com. Bozo, you won a little medal. Black plays a6. Again, I think black sort of realized early on in this game, like, maybe I shouldn't lose my pieces. Chess is much harder when I lose my pieces. White plays rook d1. Excellent move. Brings the rook to the center of the board, attacks the thing that's weak. Again, your opponent plays a6. In general, the thought process in chess goes, what is the idea of that move, and is there an idea? Not every move. You're not going to be able to tell what an idea of a move is all the time, because you're not good enough yet. That's not an insult. This is an insult. You're a bozo. But seriously, you're not going to be able to tell. You just can't. You're not always, like, technically the idea of this move is to protect b5, but does black even know that? I mean, the thing is, you may be justifying your opponent's moves, but your opponent doesn't even know why they made a move. So, okay. Rook d1, love it. So, you know, at next order of business in the thought process of making a move is, not every move needs to attack something, right? Like, the pawn to g4 is fine, but in most circumstances, it's better not to, you know, weaken our king. So, okay, rook d1 attacks the pawn. Black plays rook d8. Now, this is actually an illusion. There's an illusion here that this pawn is protected. Pay attention to this. This is a pattern you're going to see a lot in your games. Sometimes you have a rook attacking a pawn or anything, and then there's a rook on the other side, right? So these rooks are interacting. They're both staring at that. But if the rook behind the defense is not protected, that means that the thing that you are targeting is actually a bit weak. And here, bishop c5 is possible. That's a very sneaky thing. Whereas, if you wait a move, now the rook has a lot of protection, which means that's also protected, right? Does that make sense? Did you understand that? So anytime you have this kind of interaction, look beyond it as well. Make sure, like, wait a minute, that rook's got nothing guarding it. So bishop c5. White goes here. I can't really blame them. I mean, it's a very, very natural continuation. Now black should probably push the pawn forward. Black goes here. Great move. That's fantastic. Now, if I'm being a stickler for things like you should trade when you're winning, this is usually a really dumb move. But honestly, I wouldn't even hate it now. Because again, you're up material. The less pieces your opponent has, you know, the harder it is going to be to create counterplay. But you don't have to do that. Instead, white goes knight f3. Now, black here should focus where they are stronger. And my God, from this point forward, pandemonium breaks loose. Black basically realizes, me push pawn, right? You have more pawns. You have 7 to 5. So that is your advantage. And let me tell you something right now. People below, if I had to give a number, 1,500, have absolutely zero clue how to deal with an avalanche of connected pawns. Avalanche, pawns moving forward together, not Colorado Avalanche. And connected pawns are pawns that are standing side by side. So these are all connected, and these are all connected. These are not connected. I would hope those of you watching this would understand that those, if you don't understand that, checkers. Maybe I'll make a checkers channel. All the pieces move the same. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier for you. Or cooking channel. You know, maybe don't even play on a board. Just cook. Play Battleship. I don't know. Mahjong. But yeah, so connected, pass pawns. Now, this is still totally winning. It's totally winning because what you're supposed to do is, yeah, you're just kind of supposed to control them, right? But now suddenly, look at that. That's a problem. Because where do you move the knight? Suddenly, you absolutely have to go backwards. And if you go too far backwards, look at this. You might get trapped. I mean, your bishop's kind of trapped. The only thing that it's not trapped is because the rook is pinned, but that's way too high level. So a3, d4. Now, white fires off knight to h4, giving up the knight with the bishop hanging. Now, friendly reminder, the knight is not hanging because the rook is hanging. I don't know if white saw any of that. I would wager, if I had to, probably not. All we saw is bishop is under attack. Now, look at this move by black. Look at this haymaker from the heavens. Bishop to c2. I mean, my goodness, the rook is under attack, the knight could potentially be under attack, and there is a very sneaky, hidden little move in this position that I guarantee none of you see. Well, some of you do, because you're pretty strong. Rook to d2, attacks the bishop back, the bishop slides over here. Now, the thing that's hidden in this position, the move pawn to g5, super low-key, but there is a fork looming on the horizon. But these pawns are also looming on the horizon. Now, here, white plays bishop d1. The fact that white even knows bishops go backwards is commendable. Now, the knight still cannot be taken. Right? It's absolute chaos. What black should do here is put the bishop on c4, targeting the rook. And when the rook moves, that's when you start firing away g5. That's when you protect the rook, so you open up the attack on the knight. Bishop d1, but black takes the bishop. Fine. Rook d1, you still cannot take the knight, but you do have this move g5 whenever you want it. Black plays knight c6. So, again, knight c6 is played. Rook is now protected. The rook just got from 0 protection to 2. 2 things are protecting the rook. So the knight is absolutely under attack. The knight has to move. No questions asked. It does. Now black has this move g5. That is just a pure fork. Winning back material with the avalanche still here, going strong. But black plays the second best move, which is knight jumping into the middle of the board, attacking the rook. Can't really hate it. I mean, that is a pretty, good move by black. Knight to e4, played pretty quickly. White moves the rook to d3. Once again, the move pawn to g5 is there. It is there. It is not played again. Instead, black plays the much more natural pawn to c4, attacking the rook, which is a bad move because now rook f3 can be played. I mean, I don't even know. And now black plays d3. So look at this. I told you the avalanche of connected pawns is terrifying for most beginner and intermediate players. They have absolutely no idea how to deal with it. So look at this. The knight goes to c3. Now, again, the reason why this is bad is because black can take, and fire off this fork. Again, that fork has been there for 10 moves. The fork has been available for like 10 moves. It's not happening. I think we can safely forget about the fork. All right, which is why the eval bar is bouncing up and down every single turn. Instead, look at this. We play knight d4. Now, the reason that this move is really bad is because you are giving up a full knight. Knight takes e4, knight takes f3, knight comes back, and we have 3 pieces for a rook, which is not going to get it done. The 3 pieces will demolish the rook. It's just not possible. Also, you're never getting these pawns down here. I control way too many squares. Not only do I control... Look at this. I mean, I can completely embarrass the pawn chain. You have to be very careful putting the color of the pawns on the opposite color of your opponent's bishop. Got to be really careful. All right? That doesn't happen. Knight to c3 targets the knight in the center of the board. Knight to d4, and white does not find knight takes knight. Now black is completely winning again. Black is completely winning again because they can take, which now they find. They found it because the rook was attacking the knight. So obviously they found it. Knight takes knight, pawn takes knight. Now, black is completely winning. If black jumps in, attacks the king, attacks the bishop, it's a fork. It's even worse than that because now the pawn is about to queen. Rook to d1 is on the way, and the game is over. bc3, and black also can win the game by again playing pawn to g5, which is a fork, but instead of that, black plays knight to c2, and the position is back to equal. Now, I get knight to c2. You are trying to fork, get rid of this pawn, and have a 4-on-1 avalanche. I mean, the game plan for is essentially the entire game for black has been avalanche. White plays rook e7, which is a move that accomplishes absolutely nothing. If you needed to do something here, you needed to go target the pawn in front of the king. You don't do that. Now we have knight takes a3. Now, it's still very, very complicated. Here, white suddenly realizes, if I don't do anything in this position, black is simply going to push all the pawns forward. So now I need to launch an attack on my opponent's king. The best way to launch an attack on my opponent's king when I have 2 rooks, a bishop, and a knight is to move my g-pawn. Now it's pawn to g4, and the game... By the way, the craziest thing about pawn to g4 is that if there was ever a moment to inspire the opponent to fork you, which has just been there literally the entire game, now black should be, oh, g4, you went, oh, duh. And now that's it. And g5 is just there, and, white has to go here, and white will never find that. g5. Instead of that, black is completely tunneling on this. a5. A move made on the opposite corner of the board. We are off to the races. Here, white, for some reason, does not go g5. Instead, bringing the knight back. Finally. How many moves was the fork available, by the way? Knight to h4 for basically, yeah, like 12 moves. I mean, pawn to g5 has been... You see the arrow just repeatedly. I mean, it's just there. It's just there. Knight comes back to f3 and b4. There it is. We are arriving. It is basically a race against time. How is white possibly going to strike back here? There it goes, pawn to g5. Now, that move does nothing. Like, I get it. I totally understand. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but This is very fast. b3, b2, b1 is a queen waiting to happen. The knight even controls the promotion square. Now, of course, you can take. You take, there's no pawns left. Black says, you know, let me play h5. Let me just stop the pawn attack. Yes, but now white does something really genius. Pawn to g6. g6 is low-key, aka high-key, an absolutely brilliant move. Let me explain why. If for whatever reason you did something like knight e5, by the time you play g6, I've arrived on the second rank probably, and you're just not going to have enough time. g6 is brilliant because it's actually getting closer to the king, and if black takes, you open this and bishop e5. And suddenly, suddenly, I don't feel so insecure. By the way, great song. Yeah, like now you have knight h7, bishop f6, knight e6, even rook e1 can control from a distance. So even though black is a square away from queening, and even can queen, it's mate. Knight e6 and rook e7. So knight, rook, and bishop like this, very powerful when attacking a king on the 7th rank. Lot to learn in this video. g6, black takes on c3, and now white is completely winning if white plays pawn takes f7 check. Pawn takes f7 check, protects the rook, brings in the knight. A little bit beyond what we can accomplish here, but look at this. King f8, now white is completely winning. Now, the only move here that wins for white, the only move is rook b7. If you play rook c7, then black has enough time to jump back and attack you and play defense. Nobody on planet Earth at this level is finding that move. Even if you play c2, look how disgusting. You can give this up and you win. You have a queen, but you can't stop mate. Knight h7 is mate, knight e6 is mate. Nothing. So rook to b7 wins the game. Instead, we play rook e1 with a similar idea. The only reason this doesn't work, the idea is very simple. The idea is very simple. You move the knight. Knight h4, knight g6. Knight e5. Knight e5, there's king e7 probably, but that's the point. Rook e1. And now, by an absolute miracle, black realizes the thing protecting the rook is the rook over here. So let me play d2. That is a brilliant move. Now you are threatening to take the rook. This is high pressure stuff. And unfortunately here, white blunders. And the rook is gone. What white had to do here was take, and not only take, you had to take again. And the point is there is no rook d2 because rook e8 check. King f7, rook here, and now it's apparently a draw. I don't know how. But instead, white went here and lost the rook. And now you're going to lose the pawn. And that's it. And white, you know, white tried with bishop c7. 4 passed pawns for black are ready to come down the board. The rook goes here. Bishop b6. And for reasons well, actually, there are. If king f7, by the way, knight to e5 is a fork, which is why black goes here. Or mouse slipped. Again, or mouse slipped. Bishop a5 is absurdly tricky. If rook a5, f8 is a queen, which is why we have rook f7. But now bishop c... Wait a minute. And suddenly, after having 4 pawns here, white is starting to pick them up. That's a check. Knight g5. Oh my god. Oh my god, you won the rook back. King f7. Now you have the opportunity to win this. But knight b1 is a fork arriving on your home square where your own knight is supposed to be. You play rook d7, that's a huge mistake. You went for danger levels, but this is attacking, and this is, the king needs to go here attacking the rook while the knight attacks the bishop. There is no way to protect each other, but black goes king to g6. And now it's over, because what you do here is you can take on g7. All of the game is over. It's finished. The advantage is gone. And now, in true 100 ELO chess fashion, an unexpected plot twist arrives just at the end. Black plays king h6. White moves the bishop out of danger. Now probably you should play c3, c2, c1. You should probably put the rook behind the pawn. Black plays rook to f8. And in this position, white went rook to g2. And black resigned. I guess Black thought this was unstoppable? Maybe Black was tilted? Maybe Black disconnect? But it said resignation. And perhaps the biggest plot twist of all is that Black was rated 893 and White was rated 1115. These were no 100 ELO players. I don't know what happened here.
When we all love the same tuna, shout out na! 555 tuna! Our favorite tuna. 555 tuna namin. Kay sarap ulamin. Kumpleto na. Is delicious pa. Mwah! Mwah!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to... Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you one of the most hilarious cheating stories that I have ever seen. Many people choose to cheat at chess because for some reason it makes you feel intellectually dominant. It's somehow even better than cheating on an exam in college or something along those lines. And today I've got an incredible story. This story begins with a person that could not improve at chess past the level of 700. I went back and I looked at this individual's games. They were not getting better at 700 ELO, which is very common. But it's not that hard to get better at 700 ELO. It just takes a lot of practice. And then this person started cheating. And this person would cheat in different ways. They would log in for a week, they would cheat for 20 games in a row, and then they would log out. And somehow they would escape getting banned because they weren't logging in every day. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna share it with you because this is super, super, super funny stuff. There is everything in this video. They lose to a cheater at some point. Then they, I'm not even gonna spoil it. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I cover a lot of different chess stuff, and one of the chess stuffs that I cover is people cheating, right? People cheating. So how do you know somebody's cheating? Very high move accuracy, consistent use of time, massive win rate, etc. So first I'm going to show you how our cheater played before they started cheating. And then after showing you a couple of those games, we're going to look at the beginning of their cheating career, how they grew by some 1,000 rating points, and yeah, all of the incredible stuff in between. So keep in mind, this person was rated about 700, okay? This is the first game that I saw our cheater play. Our cheater used to play pawn to d5. In fact, this person really enjoyed creating a little trident of pawns. Cheater used to play pawn to e6 and f5 in literally every single game. So I don't really insult people or make fun of their intelligence when they play chess. I make fun of the moves and I'm theatrical, but if you cheat, oh, I'm gonna be ruthless. So this person used to play this kind of trident chess opening, and it's not very good because it just loses a pawn, right? So, you know, White being 700 developed a knight and a queen. Not the best way to play chess, but it's life. Black plays f5 and loses the pawn in the center, and then doesn't even take it back. So takes and then goes here, losing yet another pawn. So this is, you know, down 2 pawns in the first 7 moves. That's not good. That is what happens when you aren't cheating at chess. And then proceeds to make it even worse by attacking the queen with the pawn, which blunders queen to e5, check, fork. This is a very common trap in the Scholar's Mate with queen h5, g6, where the queen takes here, attacking the king and the rook. And that is actually exactly what happens in this game. It's the exact same pattern. Check here, and Black resigned. So this was the career of this person before they started cheating in all of their games. They were 700. They sometimes did dumb things in the opening. They played an opening that is just terrible. You know, One of the things you need to stop doing as a beginner is making up your own openings, because you can't really do that. That's like making up your own ways of driving a car. There's really only one way to drive a car. You know, like the way they teach you. You can't just be like, well, I drive my car with my hands and my feet touch the steering wheel. No, you're just an idiot. Like, you need help. So, all of this to say that, you know, this is how they used to play chess. And there were some good games. You know, this game didn't last 7. Look, I told you, this game didn't last 7 moves. Another trident little stupid thing. Bishop to b4 check. Good play here by black. You know, we have a trade of pieces, and now, of course, white should develop, castle. You don't want to make multiple moves with pieces you've already made in the opening, because you're going to open up your position. You don't want to initiate trades in the opening while your king is still stuck in the center. That's exactly what white does, and then just gives black a really good position. And now our cheater, before cheating, plays bishop to d3. Now, bishop d3 is a garbage move, because you just literally just traded queens to get there, and then you give up the bishop. Then black attacks the bishop because black is 700. We've all been there. I haven't, but you have. Now, 2 things attack this bishop. Our cheater completely doesn't see it, loses a pawn. Knight takes e4. Now rook f1, bishop g4. This is knight takes bishop for free. Instead, white goes here. Knight d3 is mate in a moment. Rook d1 hangs mate. White spent 15 seconds and played literally the worst move on the board. That's not, I'm not exaggerating. The alternative would have been going here and getting mated with the knight. I mean, white literally moved a rook to a square that it could get taken 3 different ways and got checkmated. Like, this person had a rough career, okay, before they started cheating. They were 700. Here's another game. This time they didn't get to play their trident opening. Instead, they did whatever this is. They took with the pawn instead of the knight. They put the bishop behind the pawn. Just not good chess, you know? Not great. Knight e5 attacks this, right? Like, you should castle here or block. White he goes here. Just allows knight f7. And these games are chaos. Like, losing the rook, not even taking it back. Now, white somehow loses the advantage as well here. Queen f3, I mean, it looks like, oh my goodness, knight g6, bishop takes. Now, somehow, white starts losing the game because, you know, 700 chess is crazy. Now, black is winning, bishop a6. Rook d8, now it's back to equal, and now our cheater is just gonna get mated. And they get mated. Okay. So look, they were losing games in less than 10 moves. They were losing games in 15 moves. They were losing games, then winning games and losing games. My friends, this is where this person started cheating. And, yeah, it's been a wild time ever since. They started cheating, and one of the very first games that they played, just look at the difference. Look at the difference in ability between cheating and not cheating. One of their first opponents was named Jon Snow, and our cheater played a King's Gambit, okay? Now, some cheaters try to avoid getting caught by not always playing the best move, or by stalling the clock out in certain situations, or by playing bad openings and then catching up in the game. What I'm about to show you is some of the funniest stuff that you might ever see. A person cheating and discovering things about their chess they didn't otherwise know. So black gives this check because black is 900, okay? Black thinks this is checkmate. It's not. Now the queen has to go back, and now what white is going to do is win time against the queen and develop their pieces. So the cheater takes on e5. You'll notice that white is spending like a lot of time on these moves. For example, on the move pawn to g3, which is literally the only logical move in the position, the alternative being here, the cheater sometimes was thinking about making the second best move. And you're going to see this during the video instead of the best move. So take, develop, and develop. And you'll notice white already has some advantage because white has developed pieces better. Queen e7. And now the computer decides queen to e2 to try to prepare long castling. So the cheater plays queen e2, all right, in about 12 seconds. Black takes on c3. white takes with the d pawn to open up the bishop, spending, you know, again, 12 seconds. Like, look at that. Look at this. 12 seconds, exactly 12 seconds again. Okay? Now, the best move is to develop the bishop, right? You know, you can go bishop g5 or e5 or bishop f4. So like I said, sometimes cheaters, they like to play, you know, the second best move or the third best move. So bishop f4, played after 13 seconds. 12, 12, 13, all right? Bishop g4, castles. Excuse me, bishop g2, 14 seconds. All right, now a lot of different moves are equivalent here. Bishop g2, now castle short, okay? Guess that's not, you know, we're not castling long. Castle's long. And now the cheater plays queen f2, also about 16 seconds. Every move being played between 12 and 18 seconds, okay? Queen f2. Now, knight f6, and now white has an opportunity to get an advantage. White gets an advantage after spending 13 seconds on the clock. The reason for that is the cheater is inputting this into a computer, then letting it think, and then going back and going, oh, I see, okay, knight to d4 is the best move. You unpin yourself, you try to trade off a knight, you try to infiltrate the opponent's king, take, and now pawn to c5. Now, in this position, the best move is just obviously rotating the queen. I feel like any human would do that. But the cheater plays the second best computer move because they are trying not to get caught. And then the second best computer move here doesn't make any sense because you take a pawn, which is defended by two things. What? Well, the idea is that after this, you have a fork. No 900 sees that. What are we even, what? So the cheater doesn't understand how crazy their move looks. They're just like, well, I don't want to always play the best move, which is why Stockfish gives this an inaccuracy, because queen a4 is the best move, but bishop d6 is the second best move. Bishop d6. Now, black is like, well, if I take the queen, they're going to take my queen, so I'm going to take the bishop. Yeah, but you see, the cheater had an idea, right? That's why they, you know, this. 11 seconds. Every move is coming between 12 and 18 seconds. Look, that move was even faster. That was 9 seconds. Takes, check, and now e5. And white is crushing, just forking things. The rook, the knight hanging, has a very, very big advantage. Black goes here, and any human being here sees this and that and goes, boom. But most human beings aren't cheating when they play chess. The best move in this position is that. So queen d6, e d6, you know, interchangeable. E takes d6, very nice move. If you take my queen, I take your queen. And queen d7, and now the queen slide steps to b4, lining up and attack over here. Now, what you're about to witness is so sick. When I saw this, I knew I had to include it in the video because we are talking about a person who about 3 days prior was losing games in 9 moves. The cheater in this position plays the move rook to f5. As you can see from the arrows drawn, the rook can be taken, but then queen b7 is mate. Most 900s here play this, but that is actually the top computer move. Remember, the cheater is trying to not get caught, but the cheater accidentally plays a brilliant move. Black plays b6, setting up queen takes, and then this. Now, the best move in this position is rook e5 to go there. The second best move is rook a5, which is what the cheater plays because the cheater thinks, well, you know, I'm not going to get caught if I play the second best move. My friends, do you understand the idea of rook to a5? Some of you may go, oh, I get it. You can't take because of the pin. That's really clever. My friends, that's not the idea. The idea is to sacrifice the queen and mate. What? This is a person that was losing games in less than 10 moves. And 3 days later, this dude just went rook f5, rook a5, queen sack, mate. What? What are we even looking? Rook f5, rook a5. This person was trying not to cheat, trying not to get caught, and then they saw this move, and then they didn't even realize why it was mate. They spent another 9 seconds. Queen b6. Do you know why it took white 24 seconds to play this move? Because they didn't understand. They were looking at the computer going, why is the computer telling me to sacrifice my queen? Then they realized. The people don't realize when they cheat how stupid they look. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? My friends, it only got better. This person cheated. Like I said, they would log in, they would cheat for 10, for 15 games, then they would log out. Okay? They would log in, they would cheat, they would log out. Then they ran into a cheater. By this point, this was like months in the future. And on the one hand, it would be great if like chess.com could flag these people right away. There are hundreds of thousands of people playing online at any given moment. I'm not sure you could ever come up with an algorithm strong enough to detect all of that right away. So, yeah, you know, would I love to see these people banned before they can take rating points like this? Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what it's like to run a chess website. I have a courses website. Do you know it, by the way? It's called Chessly. It's where all my courses are. You can check them out in case. Also, I have a book. I like to promote things. Anyway, here's a game that the cheater played against the better cheater. E4. So the players develop a 4 knights, and bishop b5, bishop d6, castles, and now, you know, any normal human goes here or here, but the cheater's trying not to get caught, so they play the third best computer move, which is retreating the bishop. Black plays knight to d4. Black is cheating every move. So black is playing basically the top computer move every move. White is trying to play not the top computer move every move. And also they're using different computers to cheat. White might be using, you know, something on a phone that's better than all humans, but is worse than other bots. So knight takes d4, pawn takes d4. Now, if I'm a human, I go here to try to win this pawn. Computer goes here, though. So that's hanging, the bishop is there. Knight takes e4. And now, again, I would just go somewhere like this, but instead, our cheater plays queen g4, which is not, it's not up there with the lines of the computer, but it's probably the second or third best move. And then they win the pawn like this. And black comes back, and black has a slight advantage here, okay? White develops the rook to e1 in 13 seconds because they're cheating. Black plays rook e8, now white plays queen f4, which attacks the pawn on c7. Black plays d5. So black completely disregards the pawn, counterattacking this. I mean, again, any human being here at 1500 just plays pawn to d6, which is a very reasonable move. d5, the bishop goes back, and now, again, we hang the pawn into a fork because the idea... Do you know why black played this, allowing this? Because that loses to bishop d6, hitting the queen, and after you take it, rook e1. Nobody saw that. Neither of these cheating idiots saw that bishop d7 allows a fork, but then bishop d6 is a haymaker. Nobody saw that. They have no idea what they're missing because they're cheating every move. They don't actually know how to play chess. Instead of that, white plays rook e3, which is one of the best moves, trying to rook lift. I don't actually know what you're trying to do because knight h5 fork. Really, I have no idea. Black plays d4, losing a pawn 2 different ways. But if you take like this is a fork, so you can't do that. So you've got to take it with the queen. And now the best move is knight to what? The best move is knight to g4, putting pressure on this and this and this. And now the queen is a target. So bishop to f6 hits the queen. Queen c4 slides out of the way. And now the black rook can infiltrate to the first rank. But before we do that, we need to kick this knight out for some reason. You still can't take because of rook c8. That one I at least see. Knight goes back. Now black starts launching the pawns. Okay, now you'll notice black every move. Look at black's moves. Look at every one of black's moves. 12 seconds. 16 seconds. 10 seconds. 14 seconds, right? Everybody's cheating. Everybody's cheating. Now bishop d4 is a major problem. And unfortunately, our cheater with white is getting outplayed by the cheater with black. Has to sacrifice. And now the cheater with black starts bulldozing. So... here, again, the third best move is to take, which is why it was played. And now, at this point, I think basically the cheater gave up. Bishop takes f2 is a nasty sacrifice. And now black absolutely swarms with the queen and the rook. And our cheater cheated, but not well enough. Queen c4, and now a brutal move, rook e2. Disconnecting the pieces. Look at black's time, by the way. Black is spending a minute and a half on a move because black is pretending to think. All right, every cheater is different up here psychologically. Every cheater is trying to, you know, pretend that they're not actually doing it. But unfortunately, it's made in a few moves. Check, and now check, check. You'll notice every move now for black. Look, 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 look. Every move. Like 11 seconds, 13 seconds. That one came in 6 seconds, and that one in 2. The reason black saw those last few moves is because quickly in 2 seconds, because black is actually, you know, probably decent at chess. Like people cheat because they're like 900, 1,000. Anyway, black was banned shortly thereafter. Very funny game, punctuated by like punctuated by white setting up an attack on a pawn, which black just allows, but white doesn't. Do you understand how stupid this is? Think about this. A human plays this move because you attack that. Obviously, what else could you possibly be doing? This move, okay, at least fine. Any human on the planet plays this because they think their opponent messed up. And probably their opponent did. At most level, this is what's gonna happen. It's so funny that both players are cheating and they don't even realize what's in the position. Now, this is a cheating blooper. I never thought I could discover something like this until I took a look at this person's profile. At this point, there's 1,600. So, cheater versus cheater is actually common. It's very common. Like, two people cheating, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people playing chess around the world. It's common for a cheater to play a cheater. I choked, I got so excited. I've never seen something like this. Have you ever seen a person cheating at chess lose in 9 moves? How can you cheat at chess but lose in 9 moves? E4, E5. Cheater is cheating every game. Knight F3, Knight C6. All right, white plays C3. White is trying to play the Ponziani. Very good opening for beginners and intermediate players. Black, of course, since they're cheating, plays the top computer move of the opening. And now queen to A4 is the best move, but white takes and plays bishop E2. So white is already worse. White is worse because this is not the idea of the Ponziani. You've taken away a very natural developing square for your knight, and now black has a lot of activity. So rather than develop, actually, black now just starts punishing you. Pawn in the center, now your knight's got to go. It undevelops to G1. Knight F6, bishop, all of this is good. But black plays knight E5. Taking advantage of the loose square, and now D3. I mean, it's just a very difficult position already for white, who lashes out with pawn to F4. You can take en passant, but the idea knight to D3 is brutal, and black is already winning in 7 moves because black is cheating, okay? How is black winning in 7 moves but losing in 9? Well, in this position, white takes the knight and offers a queen trade. Now, black has a couple of ways of dealing with this. Black can play knight F6, going, you know, to defend the queen. Black does not want to trade because that just helps white develop. Black hasn't done themselves any favors there. And also, black doesn't really want to move away because that just gives white development. So in this position, the best move according to the computer is to play bishop to E6, defending the queen with the intention of attacking the pawn if that trade happens. But in this position, black mouse slips. Black was trying to play the best move, but instead mouse slipped, lost the queen, and resigned. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. This person has been cheating for like 40 games at this point, and mouse slips, and by the way, would have probably won this game had they kept cheating, because they would have defended themselves, and then white would have gone here, and then black would have done this, and then, you know, slowly black would have worked their way back, because, a computer can beat a human. But instead they just resigned after mouse slipping their queen, and probably thought, well, if I lose a couple of games, then I'm not gonna get banned. Oh my, this is incredible. And this game was really funny, because this game shows exactly what I'm talking about throughout the video, just constantly, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, the cheater plays E4, the better cheater plays E5, and we have 4 knights, and now knight to D4. Very similar opening that we had to the other cheater versus cheater game. So, white plays castles. Black doesn't actually take the bishop. Black plays C6. White goes here, and now black does this, helping white develop. That's a really weird move. I do not understand that at all. But remember, black is cheating. Bishop C5, queen G3 attacks both pawns. Black just castles. Can't even be bothered to defend one. Queen E5, because black is going to go here. And then after ED5, black is going to play bishop D6. All of this happens. So black loses 2 pawns in the opening. You look at this, you go, what is black doing? They're just down 2 pawns. Right? If they take, and then 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 take, black is just completely lost. Black just 5 pawns versus 7. It's a completely losing position. But black is cheating. Black is cheating at a higher level than white is cheating. Bishop D6. Queen goes back to e2. And black, by the way, the best move for white was to go here. Or here. But white is trying not to get caught. So white goes here and gets hit with a Greek gift. Bishop takes h2. The Greek gift sacrifice, luring the king into the open onto g3. Because if you go this way, queen h4 is just lights out. You're just going to lose. You're going to have to sacrifice your queen. So the king comes out. Now watch as the more brutal cheater cheats in a better way and wins. Rook to e8 attacks the queen, puts the queen on the open line. The queen slides back to d1. Black now plays the best move, which is h5. Defending the knight, restricting this, and h4 is actually a brutal threat. So white has to play the only move not to lose. They're cheating again, f4. So you're going to slide the king over here. Black plays h4, forcing the king over here, and now queen to b6. Now, there is a mate threatened. This is mate. You cannot escape onto the e file or those squares, and f2 is covered by the queen. So white, by a miracle, plays g3 in 13 seconds, by the way, because white is cheating. So white is spending a consistent amount of time and now creates an escape path. Now pawn to h3. Now, so we just saw the cheater mouse slip and lose a game. This is perhaps the funniest moment in the entire video. I mean, mouse slip was pretty damn good. This is hilarious. So, remember, white is trying not to play the best move all the time. Because white thinks, if I play the top computer move all the time, I'm going to get banned. But if I play the second or the third, I'm going to survive, right? So the top computer move in this position is d4, which blocks the queen. So this is no longer checkmate, and you can run over here, because the queen is... But the only other way not to get mated in one is if you go here, it's still mate in one. So the only other way not to get mated in one is to go here and lose your queen. And that's what white did! White doesn't realize that this is just losing a queen, whereas this is at least prolonging the game a little bit. So white is like, I'm not gonna get caught, and plays queen to e2 and just loses the queen and spends 17 seconds on that move, and then loses the queen, and then spends 1 second taking back. And black just develops all the pieces and then brings the rook. Bishop e2, pawn to, and I mean the pawn just walks down the whole board. Queen d4, and the best move for black now, which is so brutal in this position. Sacrificing the queen in order to promote another. White resigned, they had enough. Oh my goodness, this cheater was good, but they were nothing compared to these others. My friends, this is why you should not cheat at chess, because you're gonna take rating points from innocent people, but one day I'm gonna find you, and good lord am I gonna expose your intellectual capabilities. Chess does not correlate to your intelligence, it doesn't correlate to your self-worth. Let's get philosophical for a moment. You're gonna lose like half the games of chess that you play, if not more. Chess is a lifelong learning process, okay? I go to play tennis at the local park, I don't hit 100% of my shots in, and I would never expect to, because I'm terrible at tennis, I just play it for fun. You have to be willing to lose. You can't cheat like this because you don't realize how absurd you look. Consistent time management. Thinking you're clever by playing the second or third best move, even if it means giving up your queen or mouse slipping trying to defend. I'm done, my friends. Oh my goodness, get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. Hope you all have a wonderful 2024, and we are going to kick off 2024 with a bang, as today, Chess.com has announced new bots, and they are none other than bots of Magnus Carlsen, and I am going to play against them. And I have been told there is a secret bot as well. So I will try to discover what on earth they are talking about. They have not given me much information, but that is what I have to work with. Friendly reminder, today is January 1st. Today is the last day you can get any of my courses for 40% off. The holidays are over, so if your loved ones didn't get you a holiday present, you could set a New Year's resolution. Go study some endgames. Go study some tactics, some middle games. Learn that opening you've always wanted to learn. I'm going to play against the Magnus bots, and we're going to have a blast. I mean, chess.com, I was really worried, you know, because the 2023 just ended. Magnus won every tournament, but he's not playing for the World Championship. He's not playing in the candidates. What are we going to do with no Magnus? Well, obviously, we're gonna farm Magnus for content, even like this. Okay, so our bots are, we have Sleeping Magnus, and then we also have, we have a couple of others. There's Sleeping Magnus, Ski Magnus, Soccer Magnus, Chef Magnus, and Magnus. Just Magnus. I'm kind of sad they don't have Drunk Magnus, because that's definitely one of the most powerful chess players in the world. Maybe they'll change it up. I'm going to play maybe 1 or 2 games against each one, then we're going to play Magnus. We're going to try to see what on earth chess.com is talking about with their bots. Let's open up with E4. Let's see what dialogue he has. Oh, does he have no dialogue? Is that... Is the point that he's asleep? Okay, he played the Sicilian defense. I'm gonna play the Alapin, trying to put 2 pawns in the center. Okay, he went D5. I think I have animations off, by the way, so let me fix that. I usually have it on this setting. Played D5. Okay, it's a normal move. He's asleep, so he's not talking. Oh, that just said Z's. All right, tremendous. All right, well, that's not an accurate move in general. Just move. In general, you should not be making queen moves in the opening too many times. Okay, obviously Magnus is not, he's not awake yet, so. Okay, so just, he's trying to mate me over here. I don't need to acknowledge this. In general, striking against the flank is better in the center. Oh, look, wow, that's actually, that is a reasonable move. He's putting pressure on the pin piece. He's also mumbling the word bishop. I'm gonna play knight h4. It's not the best move, but knight h4 attacks the queen, and the best move is queen f6. All right, well, okay, he thought he was mating me. I guess if you just survive a little bit against Must Chess, if you survive a little bit against this Magnus, he's gonna hang his queen against you, so. Okay. Discover check. He said stop. No. I hope they discussed these voice lines with him. I gave up my rook, by the way. But the idea there was to get my bishop around. I am a queen up, so I should just go for his king. I can probably sacrifice and continue the attack, because again, I am up a lot of material. Oh, he doesn't even take. Do I have a checkmate? I do. I have knight d8, discover check. Okay, knight d8, discover check, and then I'm gonna play bishop f4, queen d7, and yeah, I destroyed him. So the first bot is not really that impressive. Let's see if he says anything. You beat sleep. Thank you, chess.com. I can beat a grandmaster when he's asleep. He didn't even say anything when he lost. All right, that was a little bit boring. Let's play Ski Magnus. Magnus is hitting the slopes in 24, but still has time for chess. See how strong he is while he slaloms downhill. What is a slalom? Wait, I gotta look this up. Slalom. Slalom skiing, alpine skiing, and... What? What is a slalom? S-L-A-L-O-M. I don't know. Let's play black. All right. There's no such thing as bad snow, only bad skiers. I'm going down a double black diamond ski run. All right, Magnus, no need to show off. Let's play a modern. Let's play g6 and bishop g7. Okay, he turns it back into a king's pawn.
A groundbreaking AI tool, Shaker AI. It can turn blurry images into 4K Ultra HD and even higher resolution, change the shape of images from square to landscape, and even convert 2D images into 3D styles. You can also modify the image by changing the descriptive words. It's truly amazing. And the best part is, Shaker AI is free to use. Don't hesitate, give it a try now.
I'm gonna play d6, a6, b5 maybe. There's two setups that white can choose. You could choose the aggressive one, or you could, you know, castle short side. How many other chess players have you seen play chess while skiing? We get it, Magnus. You're very impressive. That's a Jerry move if I ever saw one. What? Looks like a pawn avalanche coming my way. This is not a good move. It was good. It was good there. It was good here, and then this is just a waste of time. Because I can just attack the knight. I can also keep developing. As long as you're making a move that creates a threat and doesn't overextend your position, it's totally okay. Like a5, there is bishop takes in some positions. I don't know what is going on here, but I'm just playing in the modern style. Generally, you try to prepare this move c5, which is what I'm doing with my knight, pawn, and my rook. And skiing Magnus is clearly on some sort of narcotics because he just played bishop e2 and bishop f1. We're gonna... I hear there's a secret Magnus bot at the bottom the mountain. Seems sketchy to me. The ski patrol might need to save you... What? Is this the secret Magnus bot? I hear there's a secret Magnus bot at the bottom of the mountain. Okay, this is an awful move. Pawn takes. So, skiing Magnus gave me a pawn. I guess I'll continue to develop. I'm trying not to block my bishops. Does that move have a threat? Doesn't look like it. I can attack the knight. I can also break in the center. I guess that move does have a threat, just not with the knight. All right, let's play a5. Now this is actually not a terrible move if I fall for it. Okay, doesn't let me quite get what I want. Maybe queen here. That's a... I doubt he's gonna see that. There's no way. Oh! He said gnarly. I don't think Magnus Carlsen has literally ever said the word gnarly, but no problem. Let's just castle. Let's just castle. Everything is protected. White doesn't have a lot of space. d5 is a queen hang, but there's no need to do that. Let's play f5. We're castled. We're very well equipped to open up the board right now. In general, in a more or less closed position, you are able to open up like this, especially because the opponent's pieces are all back here. Anytime a pawn moves, you want to see what it did. This move actually does a lot of things. First of all, it controls some squares, but it relinquishes defense of this pawn. Second of all, it blocks the bishop. Third of all, it opens the queen. So every time a pawn moves, many things happen. In this particular case, white is in a lot of trouble because he's going to lose the knight and then maybe the rook. Well, my pawn moved. Okay, the computer spotted that. But now my pawn made it all the way down the board. It is also very well protected. Now I'm just looking. I have to be a little careful here with my king, but in general, I don't have any en passant there, sadly. We can trade and then trade the queens. It's a nice way to play for a win. Okay, the computer at this point is completely malfunctioning, so we're going to trade queens because I don't want skiing Magnus to checkmate me. I'm hitting this. Actually, I think I just lost the pawn. Yeah, I might have just lost the pawn, but I have too many pawns. Yeah, this is coming down. This is... It was easier to focus when I was on the chairlift. Oh, now he's saying he's not even focusing. Zwischenzug. In between move. I'm going to promote to a knight against the bot, so it's check, and I want to disrespect it. This is the only chance I'll get to promote to a knight against Magnus Carlsen. I actually feel good about myself. It's hard to play chess while holding ski poles. Tremendous. Yes. What does that mean that there's a secret Magnus at the bottom of the mountain? What is he talking about? That's mate. Okay, get my bishop out of the way, take the pawn, mate him. Okay, take the knight, put the bishop back, take the pawn, mate him. Take the pawn and mate him. That's what we're going for. Oh my god. Okay. Checkmate net. He can't escape. He can't escape. Oh my god, he's so annoying. I really stomped out Magnus. No, you didn't. What's the... Okay. Check. He's gonna go here, and now we prevent his escape. This is how you weave a check. It's normally a stalemate, but he has pawn moves. Made him. Very convincing victory for Mr. Gotham Chess. Thank you very much. Maybe I should stick to the bunny slope during our rematch. Yes, you're trash. All right. Magnus Loves Soccer might be a little bit distracted. This whole thing is just him being distracted while he plays you, So he has a built-in excuse. We need drunk Magnus. That's what we need. I guess that's not very kid-friendly. Can we have apple juice Magnus? Can we have happy... Hey, chess.com, call him Happy Hour Magnus, because kids are going to think that he's just happy. But we all know what that means. It's hard playing soccer while playing chess on your phone. He literally... Okay, oh my god. I'm going to go d4 this time. I'm going to play a London against Mr. Magnus. All right. I'm playing goalkeeper right now. Our regular goalkeeper is out sick. Nobody asked. Literally no one asked. What? Okay, that's pretty funny. Soccer Magnus, why am I not... What is E5? He's 1500, he hung a pawn on move 2? What is this? Oh my god.
Wait, I hate this game.
Okay, now we're just playing a London, but I have an extra pawn. Oh my god, what? Martin Odegaard. Did I just... Is that like a slur? Like what? Oh my god, what is that word? I don't even know who that is. Don't get distracted by me naming random soccer players. Yo, why do they make Magnus look so antisocial in these things? I'm stopping queen before check. It's actually not like the worst position in the world for black. Let's just be solid. We're playing a London. In the London, you're generally supposed to develop and then put the knights out. Sometimes people get very spooked in Londons when their opponents play very aggressively. Oh, Holland. I know who Holland is. I'm a pawn up, so I'm going to trade the queens. I have to worry a little bit about my bishop getting... Red card, no boo. Wow, they really made him completely demented. I mean, these voice lines are... Okay. I guess I can keep developing, or I can start poking with my pawns like this. Anyway, again, up material, good to trade. Just have to evaluate if he's going to be able to trap your pieces. I can poke at him, I can castle long, I can develop my knight to e2 and then castle short. Just have to, again, make sure that my bishop is never getting trapped. Okay, so now the best thing to do is to fight back on the dark squares. Right, and so now my dark squares are very nice, so my knight could always go there. It's very tough to say which way to castle is better. Actually, I think castling queenside is the better move here because the rook should guard the pawn. If you castle this way, black might be able to mobilize toward your weakness. In chess, you really got to think of things that way. Can your opponent make forward progress with these pieces? Your king's lining up for a corner kick. It's time to bring a man on late. Okay. I'm going to trade. I'm going to replace the knight where the bishop used to stand. Orion, I don't even... Who is that? I almost missed taking... Magnus almost missed taking a bishop. Yeah, that's 1500 Magnus. They're insulting Magnus and 1500s when they do this. Okay, my knight is powerful on f4. I am a pawn up. Let's jump the knights into the black position just to apply pressure. We don't have any specific targets, but they are very annoying. They're very menacing. And the next order of business might be to poke with the pawns. Oh, that's just a fork. What? He just walked into a fork. He's gonna say some stupid thing now. This rook's done playing defense. Oh. Yeah, bye. Mohammed El Yunusi? Okay, he's Norwegian? Because he kind of sounds Arabic. What? Who is that?
Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself for an epic summer in Riyadh.
Mohammed El Yunusi. He plays as a forward or winger for Danish. He's born in Morocco. Oh, he might be Moroccan, but he plays for the Norway team? Wow, that's confusing. That is, and pardon my ignorance. I mean, my goodness. Wow. Okay. Moroccan, but plays for the Danish club team, but on the Norwegian national team. Wow, I'm learning things. That's awesome. Look at me, I'm learning stuff. I didn't want to lose that pawn, by the way. So where are these hints? I mean, they were giving me hints for the secret bot, and then they stopped. Okay, I guess I'm going to lose this pawn, or not. And now I just need to, it's a very close position, so I'm going to have to, okay, I will happily trade. He's still naming football players. They made this Magnus play chess like a literal 9-year-old. Like 9-year-olds at chess tournaments sit there just drumming. If anybody has actually been to a chess tournament, like that is how kids behave, and it is very, very, very embarrassing. All right, let's go here. Let's trade Marcus Holmgren Peterson. Amazing. He's still going. That's a double check. Now I'll double the rooks. I'll bring my pawn forward. I'm not playing this actually that precisely, but I need to do a little bit of a better job. Double up on the file. I also have the outside pass pawn, which is very, very, very valuable in the endgame. I blundered that. That is a fork, and that is very annoying. But let's beat Magnus in an endgame. Let's beat him in a rook endgame. It's the only time in my life I will be able to say I beat Magnus Carlsen in a rook endgame. I'm 2 pawns up in a rook endgame. I have an outside pass pawn. I'm going to walk my king over here, and I'm going to cook Magnus Carlsen. That's what I'm about to do. King F1, King E1, King here, King here. He can't stop me. There's nothing. Oh my God. This must be what it feels like to be Magnus. Just cooking everybody in these endgames. Oh, I'm going to bring my king all the way up to... Oh, I got 2 pass pawns now. A and H. You can't beat me now, Magnus. I'm too powerful. Look at me. I'm the best endgame player of all time now. King... Oh, I hung that pawn too, actually. That was pretty stupid. But he can't stop both pawns. Is he going to go here? He is. He is going to go there. Let's just take as many pawns as we can to go. Yeah, he can't stop all my pawns. I'm gonna take this. He just doesn't have enough pawns. There we go. Now I just have to not stalemate him. And I am pretty bad at with those. I generally... All right, I'm looking forward to playing like the 2000 version and the higher one, because they've really made the 1500 one brain dead as well. Let's make rooks. Let's just disrespect Magnus a little bit. Pre-move, 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 pre-move. Yep, and we'll promote to another rook, and we're gonna win like this. This is where we're gonna cut the king off. We're gonna stop the promotion, and we're gonna get a ladder mate. Just can't let him sneak in a queen. Every move should be a check. You know what? Just for good measure, I'm just gonna go eat the pawn. Because you never know. All right, doink, doink, doink. Oh, good defense. That was good. That was good. Doink, doink. Solid game. Did he say anything else? No, no hints. I don't even know. I don't know. I have no idea what they wanted. Chef Magnus cooking up a tour de force dinner for his friends, but still has time. Magnus doesn't cook food. He has a chef. Stop it. All right, last game I played a modern. This game I'll play... I guess I'll just play something. Don't call me Magnus, call me Chef. Okay, Chef. Okay. This is Magnus after getting a head injury skiing. Okay, he's still clarifying he wants to be called Chef. That's weird behavior. It's a Queen's Pawn game. He's gonna play a London? No, he plays whatever that is. Boring. I guess I'm playing a reverse London. That's what I'm... Oh, I missed the voice line. What did he just say? I missed the line. It's not telling me what he said. What did he say? No. Go back. Fine. Okay. Keeping attention here. Chef Boyardee, Mama Celeste, 1 king on... What is he saying? Okay, let's trade this off. Is he gonna go here? This is not that... He's just naming chefs. That's what... Rest in peace, by the way, Anthony Bourdain. Is he gonna go here? Is that the big idea? Make a reservation. Make a reservation with another bot after this. Maybe one all the way down the page. What are they saying? What? Are they saying down the bot page? Is that what they're saying? I'll whip up a tasty night kimbap. What the isn't kim... Why does Magnus the Norwegian chef make Korean food? What? I'll still 86 your king from my kitchen? What the I keep looking things up because I have no idea what they're talking about. Okay, anyway, playing in the center is good. Does Chef Magnus see the pawn is hanging? I could sack, but that might be a little bit too much. I'm not sure my queen has backup there. Let's lock out the bishop. Isn't the bishop trapped? Can't I play a6, b5? Isn't the bishop trapped? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Chef Magnus. Uh-oh. Ooh, is that a good move? What if I do this now? Wait, can you go here? Uh-oh. 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 No, I don't think it's an uh-oh, because I think I can take... I'm gonna get 3 pawns for the bishop, and I'm still threatening to trap this bozo's bishop over here. Yeah, I can just take it, right? I can just trade and then play b5. Sorry, Chef Magnus, you got your bishop trapped. Yeah, I know you want that, but you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get it, and your bishop's gonna die. Sorry, bud. So now I am 3 pawns up. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. This guy might be worse than the last bot. And now we can just march down the center of the board here. We're not getting trapped. So let's just march in. Knight d5. That doesn't do anything. What was the point of this? There was no threat.
Oh no, I'm so dumb.
Okay.
Yo,
we could trade some pieces. I can also plot my knight. Oh, I gotta be careful. I gotta not get my piece trapped. So let's just start with h5. This bishop is pretty bad. E4. Nice move. Trade some pieces.
Oh, no way.
Ooh. He's just letting me walk in, huh? I mean, 2 connected passed pawns that deep into the territory is not gonna go well, Mr. Magnus.
Gosh,
Oh my goodness. Chef Magnus. I apologize. Chef Magnus. Oh my. Connected pawns on the 3rd rank is game over. E2, D2. Or D2, E2. I don't know. They both look good. D2, E2. I got the rooks behind them. I'm sorry, what? Can I promote to another knight? I'll promote to a bishop. Disrespecting the goat, because I can. Because they gave me the chance. Let's eat all his pawns. Put the knight on there. Knight d5, knight f4, e2. They really should not have... They should not have done this to Magnus, because there is no way I can get this level of a victory. Even if Magnus was on his deathbed, I think he would do better than this. All right, takes. Let's clean it up. That'll make a beautiful pawn flambe. He's still talking about cooking food. He's getting cooked, and he's talking about cooking food. All right, he can't move. I'm gonna put my pawn on f4, and we are gonna suffocate the man. That's what we're gonna do right now. How do I get a checkmate net? How do I get a checkmate net? Let's give a check and let's take the pawn. He still has many legal moves. And then I can put my... it's not a stalemate. Not a stalemate, and we need to checkmate him. What's the fastest checkmate here? I probably need to wrap my rook a certain way. This is very annoying. Let's give a check. And then let's go to... that's not mate either. Oh my god. This is very annoying. Knight here, king here. Rook f2, king here. I want the rook on f2 and I want the knight on g4. I think I need the knight on g4. So let's put the knight on g4. And now we set a checkmate net. There we go. All right. Thank you for the game. You are now an official chess.com chef. Shut up. All right. Last game against Magnus. Or I don't know. Is it? All right. Let's go. Actual Magnus 2882. Hi, I'm Magnus Carlsen. Oh, I was waiting for him to move. I'm so starstruck, you know? Okay, let's play d4. I guess I played d4 last game, but it's okay. Knight f6. I will play my... I'm the 16th... Okay. Why do all his voice lines just sound so brutally, annoyingly arrogant? Like, what? We know. That's why they made bots of you. You don't need to tell us. All right, if I was the world champ, they would have made bots of me. They only have one bot of me. Okay? Anyway. Should we play a main line? What should we do? Let's play a main line. Main line. D4, C4. Play Z6. Play the Catalan, maybe. I missed that voice. I missed that line. What did he say? Queen's Indian. Let's see how long you last. Good luck. Good luck to you, bozo. Don't talk to me like you know me. Okay, this is a line. Queen C2. Oh my god, I keep missing the lines because they bring them up. This is a fun way of developing. Agreed. Knight BD2. This is the Queen's Indian. Black tries to put pressure with the bishops. I'm quite good in positions with a strong bishop like this. Also, all other... Yeah. Same. I had a game like this against Emilio Cordova. I remember I had a game like this. He says, shut... Oh my god, be quiet. Let's grab the bishop. Let's give up. Okay, it's a little bit scary. The tension is building. Yeah, you and me both. Queen D1. This is a weird move, though. Because he's gonna have to move the bishop anyway. Or he's just choosing not to. I can appreciate a good knight every once in a while. What does that even mean? I guess I can play pawn to e3, right? I mean, like, I don't really want to play pawn to e3. The thing is, if I castle, is he gonna take my knight? Like, is that the idea? He's gonna take my knight, and then he's gonna take on d4? Do I take and then a castle? Do I take and then play b4? Really don't like the concept of taking and then giving him the b file, but I also don't want to... And I don't want to play e3 because I feel like I'm weakening my position over here a bit, but... And then I'm, you know, he might take this pawn and things like that. Take... Knight d4. cd4 is also quite good. I'm already thinking. Let's take. Let's take and then try to open up the position. I mean, I expect rook b8. No, he didn't. Okay, it's nice of you to take care of your king. Thank you, Magnus. b4, because I feel like I need to get rid of that weakness. Bishop b2, take. He can't take with the rook because I have a pin. If knight takes, I have rook take. Let's go bishop b2. I like this, actually. I have some nice space. I have, you know, I have open lines. Take. He can't take with the rook. What? I don't think the best move is obvious here? What the... I beg your pardon. What exactly is wrong with the x-ray of the rook to the rook? What? He just wants both pawns? He's just giving me... Yeah, I know takes, but that's not your voice line, Magnus. That's Hikaru's voice line. Oh my god, that's a Zwischenzug. I think I'm a lot funnier than the bot version of me. You are the... Man. Okay, my queen is hanging. I have queen d6, at which point he could take. Do I want to play an endgame against the Magnus endgame bot? Let's play an endgame against the endgame Magnus bot. Let's do it. It's not the best move. I don't think that's the best move. I think I need to keep queens on. I don't think I have enough firepower. But let's just make a funny point. Let's try to be humorous. Let's try to be humorous. All right, e3. Oh, he said, how dare you? Wait. He said, how dare you? You are stronger than I thought. Is that true? I don't know. I was programmed to say that. That's very funny. Okay, I don't know where the how dare you thing happened, but whatever. e5. This is scary. I'm in an endgame against Magnus. Let's play h3. I want to stop the knight from coming to g4. Plays h6. Now, I don't know if I want to trade the rooks. Do I think that I have a good enough position to win with just one rook if I have the king of the rooks? Oh, I think this was a mistake. The real me would probably play a better move, but the bot me will settle for that. I don't think getting the bishop off the center was right. Something tells me this was wrong because it allows me to start transferring some pieces over. Rook a2. Yeah, I'm getting confident. That pawn is not instilling a lot of confidence in me. What about rook a4? Now I'm making the bot play d5. Magnus doesn't like making committal pawn decisions. Your piece must be in good shape with all the moving it's doing. Yeah, you talk more trash, I'm gonna ruin your life. How about that, clown? My bot is almost 2,900. Is there any tougher bot you can find? Whoa, if take knight c5 is the idea? Can I take and then take the next one? I mean, this has to be right? This is what I did. Do I have rook a3, take, and then here, and then maybe, no, that doesn't look, can I take, and then, I mean, it's equal, but he has a passed outside pawn. I don't want to give up my rook for no reason. I don't see a reason to give up my rook for no reason, so I will not be giving up a rook for no reason. Okay. Still not fully convinced that this is, like, that good for the bot. Rook c1, king d6, knight c4. Do I want a knight or do I want a bishop? Which piece do I want? Do I want a knight or do I want a bishop? Which piece do I want to preserve? Which piece is better? Oh, that's so tough. I'm going to say I want to trade the bishop. I don't think my bishop is going to be that good in the long run, and I do think I need my knight. I can take. He's got to take like this. Maybe I have rook c1 stuff, knight c4 stuff, take. Very tough to say. Very tough. If I take, am I creating an asset for him? For the Magnus bot? I don't know. Very, very, very difficult. King f2. Let's bring the king. Let's not rush anything. I respect you for challenging me, but I don't fear you. I mean, I would hope not, Mr. Greatest of all time. Tough. G4, control some pawns. Oh, I don't know. Is this weakening? Like, what is... Bishop e2, very tense position, but... Uh-oh, here comes the pawn. Here comes the pawn. I gotta get out of here. I don't know how, though. I can keep walking my king, but is that fast enough? Yeah, what if I go here? Okay, he goes back. Let's continue to try to get a trade. Maybe he'll go here. Oh! Oh! Ah, yes! 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 Whoa! That's huge. Wow, the bot decided it couldn't make any more progress. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. All right. Yes, that is how we do it. But I'm not finished. I think there is still something. There's still something here, right? Where's the secret bot? Where is the secret bot? New game. Okay, they said at the bottom of this page. There's a chess bot called the Magni, and its elo is impossible. 3 Magnus Carlsens. What? What? How strong is it? Okay, I'll play black. Hello, we are the Magni. We are the ultimate. What the What? What is going on? Okay. How good is this thing? We are happy to play. Yo, that's creepy, bruh. I don't like that, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and so what? We would say good luck, but luck cannot help you. Queen's Gambit accepted. I'm chilling. What the what? What is that? That's just a mistake. What is that? What? They just gave me a pawn. What was that? That's just a free pawn. And I'm just gonna castle. 3 out of 3 Magni agree on castling. Yeah, but you bozos lost a pawn. Okay, but I'm just a pawn up. I don't understand. How do you agree the position is equal? You're a full pawn down. What is this nonsense gambit that these guys just invented? I'm gonna put my knight there. I'm never getting mated. Okay, b6, queen e4. Don't blunder that, but I just go here. I don't. And we have been the #1 chess player in the world for a combined 30 years. Nobody cares. You're a pawn down. You're not going to mate me either. If you trade all the pieces, I'll just go here. What? This is terrible. What is this thing doing? Okay. And? Rook b8. b6. Now I can play b6 because this isn't even a fork. 1 out of 3 Magni is hungry and wants... Bro, Chess.com got too much time on their hands, man. They got too much time on their hands doing this nonsense. The Magni have chosen the obvious move. Yeah, you don't say. Queen d6? I don't get it. I'm still up a pawn. And just g6. How will I ever lose? Famous last words, but seriously, like, I'm chilling. I'm completely chilling. Now I'm gonna play b6. And then bishop b7, and I get my bishop out. What is the... Wow, it's still trying to attack me. I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, I'm... The worst... I mean, I can't lose, right? Like, maybe I'll lose an endgame or something, but it doesn't... What the fuck? Rook b5 is crazy. It wants to go rook e5, but what if I play bishop a6? And then I trade bishops. What if I... What if I hit him with one of those? Oh, bishop a6, rook e5, bishop d3. Is this the idea? Okay, let's overprotect my pawn. I need to just find a repetition. That's what I gotta do. Okay, it's gonna triple up, or that, whatever that does. Okay, I think I'm trying to get it to play c4. That's terrifying because it just did what I thought. We are the Mac. Thank you. I was unsure what your name was because you only said it like 46 times. Yeah, but now what if I just wait? What if I don't do anything? What if I just wait and pressure this pawn? Right, but what if I play like rook f4, rook d8, or even bishop d5 now? Oh no, that hangs a queen. Take, rook e7. That would be bad. That would be bad. Rook f4, queen d4, rook f4, rook d8 maybe? Rook f4, bishop d5. I can take now. I don't want to go here because it's like so depressing, but I might not have a choice. Oh, this is getting very difficult. Let's go rook d8. I guess the Uh-oh. 3 out of 3 Magni evaluate this position as advantageous. Uh-oh. I can't take. Uh-oh. 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 I'm still defending. Maybe I'm not defending. Oh no. Oh, I'm in trouble. It's gonna take. Maybe I can go for this pawn. Ugh. Oh, I can't touch anything. It's just not letting me. Like, it's not letting me move. I'm doing what I can to get this e pawn, but it's just gonna defend. Oh no. Oh, if that works, I'm so cooked. I am so cooked if that move works. Is it gonna take? What's the take? I don't under. What is the idea? Don't I just take on e6? What? What? How am I? Oh, and now it's gonna kill me. Now it's gonna kill me. What? Yeah, we are the Magni. That was nuts. It just straight up played a gambit. I've never seen that in my life. All right, let's get... Oh, wait, that doesn't even work. Oh, but that works. The Magni have selected the best... I can't take because I lose my queen. It's threatening bishop c2. I can't defend against that unless I play rook c6. And if I play rook c6, it forks me. My king has no legal moves. Maybe queen g5, last chance? I think I must be lost. Queen... Oh. And now it's going to sneak in. Brutal. And it's mate. No, it's not mate. What? I thought I was mated. Oh, it's just going to take my bishop. It's not taking my bishop. It's gonna take my bishop with check. Or that. Yeah. Yeah. Check. And that's the end because I don't have this. Oh, I don't have any checks. And I'm gonna play rook there and get mated. Wow. Okay. They did not get satisfied with one Magnus, so they straight up invented a bot that is 3 Magnus Carlsens. And what does the game review say? And what does the game review say? Me against 3 Magnus freaking Carlsens. That's what we're working with here? My game review is on the highest setting, so it's gonna take a little bit of time. I mean, if E4 is like, what even was that? That was the Magni versus Gotham Chess. Magnus Carlsen bots are here. Chess.com, I kindly advise you to add a happy hour Magnus. Maybe some others. Long video today, but I do hope you appreciated it. E4 was a bad move, right? E4 is a mistake. So I guess it plays in a way where it gives away a little advantage early, and then it just bulldozes. I mean, I was doing okay. I wasn't, yeah, like it wasn't, but I guess it just has a really aggressive playing style. I was fine. It was equal. And then, where did I make a mistake? Queen d7, I guess, was a bad move. Rook d8 was a bad move. Yeah. Wow, you know, well, my estimated elo was 2,900, and it was 3,450. So, I can't really hate. You know, I'm pretty proud of myself. That's all I got for you today. I'm gonna try to play a couple of different challenges versus these Magnus bots. It's gonna be a fun January, my friends. Friendly reminder, once again, last day to get 40% off. I'm gonna grind against these Magnus bots and try to farm them for content for the next 31 days. So, get out of here.
Coco? OMG! This is butter coconut spammy ka? Yes, girl! Super fan ako!
May coconutty taste, sweet glaze, at fantastic crunch.
Nissin butter coconut?
We stand! Sarap i-stand ng Nissin Butter Coconut.
Loves us at our worst, loves us at our best. Huwag mong baliwalain niya.
Kaya I made the
Hikaru's closets 20 TSM jerseys and his feelings for Levy. Good one. But we should.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got something very special for you today. I'm super excited for this video. Today, I am going to get to the bottom of something. Can 3 Magnus Carlsen brains put together defeat Stockfish 16, which is the most powerful chess AI on the planet? Now, it could get more powerful if I also had a massive computer server space here and all that good stuff, but it is the most powerful chess computer even on a web browser. Now, I have no access to Magnus Carlsen, let alone 3 Magnus Carlsens. We haven't figured out how to clone them yet, and as far as we know, he doesn't have any twins. So instead, I will be using the Magni chess bot that was created this month on chess.com, where I can only imagine it has a playing personality and brain power and capacity mentally of 3 Magnus Carlsens. I have 2 games for you. They're so cool. It's so cool to see these AI titans fight against each other. A lot of you like AI content. Do let me know in the comments if you do, by the way, because every time I ask, I always see people commenting. Because right now, YouTube comments are all like, Levy never fails to never fail to never fail, and Levy never fails, you know, like it's just all like teenage memes. But I do like to hear feedback from kids, adults, seniors. Like, I really enjoy this type of stuff, and I have 2 unbelievable games for you today. So, game number 1, Stockfish began with d4, and the Magni bots have an elo of 9999 because their actual elo is impossible elo, and chess.com doesn't let me customize the field with words. It only lets me put numbers, so I put 9999. d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, and we have a queen's gambit because Stockfish really likes queen's gambit. It also likes c4, knight f3 systems. I don't think it likes e4 as much. And the Magni here play the Slav defense. There's no such thing as the Scandinavian variation here. There is the Scandinavian defense, but that's of course e4. So they play, you know, they play the Slav. And then they surprise me by playing not the semi-Slav, which is very, very good, not bishop f5, which is the mainline Slav, but a6. This has multiple names. I do believe it's called Chelyabinsk, or the, oh, it has another name that I'm forgetting. Anyway, a6 love, and the idea is to play b5. The other idea is to take the pawn and go here. And generally nowadays, engines play e3 to try to take back with the bishop quickly. Or they take and basically say, well, now we're playing an exchange, but you have this dumb move a6. Yeah, Stockfish 16 plays g3. Web-based Stockfish says, take my pawn. Let's play. I'm going to give up my pawn completely. Not only am I going to give up my pawn, I have no intention of winning it back with the bishop. None whatsoever. Now, the Magni take the challenge. They take on c4. The opening stage is very interesting for bots because normally they come with opening books. So when AI plays against AI, you pre-program them to play like a certain amount of moves. I let the bot decide like on whatever depth it wanted. Bishop g2, this has all been played before, and basically white just says you can have the pawn. What do I get for the pawn? I get long-term pressure on this massive diagonal. I can always play knight e5 and try to win the pawn back. And another way that I'll restrict you from playing b5 is I'll play a4 if you let me. Which is why frequently bots will go b5, but then they weaken this, and this can be very annoying to defend, and then white will play like b3, and there's actually lines where white just gets a position like this, just a full pawn down, but a lot of pressure, and black's position is very difficult to dig out of. So instead of that, the Magni play knight bd7, which stops knight e5, and so instead of that, Stockfish takes this approach and says, well, you know what? Middle finger, pointer finger. We have kids watching. To the Magni bot, I'm pointing at the b5 square. You can't play b5 anymore. You can't play b5 because you're going to open up that diagonal. You can't take like this. And so the Magni play a5, and they say, well, at least I won control of b4 completely. I can put pieces there. You can't put anything on b5 like a knight. And by the way, for the record, Stockfish has no intention whatsoever of winning the pawn back for now, which I find hilarious. A lot of moves tie for first here, like e4 is good, bishop g5, just developing as much as possible, bishop g5. And the idea of bishop g5, for the record, is not really to put pp on the pp. Like, if I can jump the pawn there, that would be great. The idea is to take the knight. Take the knight, black can take back a variety of different ways, and then just play like e3. Just basically put a bunch of pawns on dark squares, no longer having a dark squared bishop. Maybe advance, but knight d2, queen e2, win the pawn back, utilize the long... Like, look at black's light squared bishop, right? The computer's trying to take a long-term approach here, and it doesn't mind kind of traditional nature of you shouldn't trade a bishop for a knight, because Gotham said it in a YouTube video, because if the computer could have it its way, it would be the one with 4.5 million subscribers. So, bishop g5 is played. The Magni put the bishop on b4, justifying their plan, and Stockfish goes knight to e4, which does put pp on the pp, but more than anything else, it opens up the c file. And you basically render this bishop targetless, and then you're going to try to win the pawn back and finally claim some sort of advantage. The Magni here say it's about damn time you do something with that bishop. The computer takes with the knight, and then brings the bishop back. Now you might say, well, didn't you just say this was going to happen? Yeah, but it didn't want to trade too much, I guess. I guess Stockfish didn't want to create this massive imbalance, potential problems for itself on the king side, so it just goes back and says, all right, let's trade. Knight e5, queen c2, I will slowly win my pawns back. You still have a stupid bishop. The Magni now play a mistake in the eyes of Stockfish. Knight e4, which is an overextension. Stockfish doesn't like the fact that this knight is bouncing around so much. 1, 2, 3. It's probably going to have to go back as well. The computer here, and by the computer I mean, of course, the god of computer chess, Stockfish, just thought castling was fine. And if you're going to move the knight, it also liked knight d5. And if e4, well then, I'm blocking my own bishop, and knight f6 is good. And if e5, well now the knight just lives here forever, and black is completely fine. So it's actually interesting how in this position, this position, this is good for white, but if the pawn is on e5, it's bad for white. Which is fascinating, right? Very, very fascinating. Very interesting. So, bishop d2, knight e4, takes, and now Stockfish says, all right, it's time to get my pawn back. Knight e5, and, okay, queen d2, interesting. Not queen c2, which virtually guarantees the capture. No. Actually, this position is not deemed that much better because black is completely solid. It's very difficult to break through the black position. Instead of that, Stockfish goes queen d2, which is a smokescreen. Queen d2 is a smokescreen targeting this pawn, forcing a reaction out of black. And black, if they defend that pawn, will now have to deal with this. The computer prefers to put a rook on c4 instead of a queen. It wants to play rook c1, at which point there is pressure. There is considerable pressure on the b pawn, and it's a big problem. So now, by playing this, Stockfish baits the Magni into a reaction. And basically, Stockfish is like, well, Magni are like, well, you missed your chance to take, so now your knight is going to have to wander into our territory and look stupid. Stockfish says, stupid? Stupid? Who's going to look stupid? You, bozos!
Cruiser.
Yeah, plural, by the way. Plural for leaving those pieces on the board, which is exactly that way. And now I'm not even going to take this. I'm going to attack your king because you weakened your king. The Magni wanted to have a weaker king so that white would not take those pawns back, but that was really bad. At this point, the Magni started saying some really hilarious stuff. So king f7, knight f4, they played e5, and then when Stockfish took and they took back, they said 2 out of 3 Magni have voted to take. I wonder who the dissenting one was. Now Stockfish finds a beautiful idea. Rather than stepping back with the knight or going here and getting trapped, in this position, Stockfish plays queen takes pawn. That's a problem. If it can win its pawn back like that, it's a serious issue. Because if pawn takes, rook d1, and you use this pin. If the queen trade is offered, you don't accept, you go bully this king because the Magni weakened the king. So queen b4, okay? The Magni now need to go queen e7 and defend themselves, but white is building the pressure. White is building the pressure. There are pawn targets all over the board. This is a very weak and isolated pawn. The king slides back to g8. Now Stockfish starts building up the pressure. Rook d7, looking to move the knight and trade the queen. Stockfish knows that. And at this point, the Magni say, together we have over 60 world championships combined. Knight c3, knight f7. You may wonder, why did Stockfish go here, but not double the rooks? It wants the rook on the f-file. You know why it wants the rook on the f-file? Because it knew this was going to happen, and now f4, and now we wanted the rook on the f-file, trying to open up the position. But the Magni are very close to equalizing the game. They're actually doing a really, really, really good job. Now we double the rooks, now we take. Rook, knight, bishop versus rook, knight, bishop, imbalanced pawn structure. The way you win a same color bishop endgame is you have your pawns complement your bishop. Nice hat. Your muscles look really big. I really like your car, etc. G6. They played G6 and they said, we have unanimously chosen the best move. And by the way, according to Stockfish, yeah, 0.08. So they're talking trash correctly. Bishop f1, bishop e6, Stockfish expands on the dark squares. Complement the bishop actually means put pawns on the opposite color of the bishop. So your bishop controls light squares, your dark squares are controlled by the pawns. At this point, the Magnus play h5 and they up the trash talk. They say the Magni would all beat easily any other chess player in a fight. Because there's 3 of us. Yeah, honestly, understandable. Have a nice day. f5. Look at that idea. This is such a deep idea by Stockfish. Stockfish gives up the pawn on f5 to win the pawn on c4. It does that because it's its only winning chance. You might say, how? How is that the only winning chance? Well, these pawns are going to be frozen on light squares. So the bishop always has a threat to sneak in. That pawn is now frozen on a light square. h4 was designed to play h5. I don't think Magnus Carlsen would ever play the move h5 in one of his own games, because that pawn is a liability in all endgames because it's on the same color as the white bishop. It's also on the same color as the dark bishop, as black's bishop, but that's going to be the defending side. White is going to be attacking. So now look at this. Now we pop back. We defend. Apparently king g6 is a bad move. Apparently it's better to go king h6. If you ask me to explain this to you, I can't. I don't understand. I think the king here is a bit smushed. Maybe here it's out of the way, more room to move. But at this point, this was the first mistake the Magni made, and Stockfish immediately went, uh-oh, I'm better. B4. I'm happy to trade the rooks. A5. All pawns are on dark squares. 3 pawns are on light squares. White is now, look at the advantage ballooning. A couple of moves ago, it was borderline dead equal. The move H5 started the problems. King G7, King G6, slightly inaccurate endgame play, and actually, the rook trade is probably losing. It's a simplification that Stockfish can see 20, 30, 40 ply ahead, and whatever the Magni are programmed to can't, which is crazy. A5. And now, Stockfish brings its king, and this is the fatal mistake. Bishop C2. The computer thinks that the bishop should stay back here, and the knight can dance in the middle, the bishop can go back and forth. But when you overextend, now we have bishop F3, and the knight comes in, and Stockfish is going to get those pawns. These pawns are a massive problem, and the knight can come here and win this. In fact, it does for the Magni, but it's too little too late, because the king is coming. If you play knight to A6, which looks like a really nice move, I'm just going to go king E4. I don't care about that pawn, because I'm still constantly threatening. And look at this winning idea. So there's an idea here that's hidden. It's the outside pass pawn walking past the blockade because you sacrifice the bishop and you clear out the defense. Very sneaky idea. It looks like there's no way through, but there is. And that is the way Stockfish wins game 1. It threatens enough problems, and then it wins that weak pawn, and it's got a 2-0. It's got a 2-0 advantage. So you go up the board, you create a blockade with your bishop, and you slowly escort these pawns to a spot where the king has no choice but to go address them. G6, H5. Now the king is there. Now it's this, this, and this versus the rest of the black position. The black king is completely stuck. It has to play defense so you can bring the king up the board. Black is in Zugzwang. If black goes king F6, you play H6 and H7. That's it. Black is completely lost at that point. If black plays king here, you take a little walk around. That's what you do. Take a little walk around, threaten to promote the pawns, threaten to go to E6. You go here, take the pawn, get over there. Now, you might even find a way to lose this pawn, but it won't matter because by the time the knight goes there, these pawns are too advanced. And that's exactly how the computer wins this game. Stockfish, look at this. Like the king walks in like the Terminator. It's what the, look, king E3, king E4, king E5, king D6, king C7. I'll do it myself. Giving up the bishop. Look at this. Giving up the bishop because you can't stop me. A beautiful first game. And Stockfish methodically pries apart the defenses, forces the king to the edge. King F6, king F7. Black again in a Zugzwang. Knight G7. You could play knight F4, but then I'm going to go here. That's mate. If you move the knight, if you move the king, that's mate. So it's game over. King F7, knight G7. What a game. Stockfish beats the Magni at their own strength, which is the endgame. Crazy. Crazy, because the Magni kept in there. It was a very interesting game. I mean, Stockfish was applying pressure the whole game, playing that interesting G3 Slav type of thing, putting the bishop on G2. If you want to ever add like a... If any of you are intermediate or advanced, then you can actually put these types of openings to the test and your opponents are not, you know, having violent diarrhea in the first 10 moves and moving their queen around and playing stupid gambits. Because that's what chess is below like 1500 rapid. You can't, you know, you show up to a game after studying an opening, somebody puts all their pawns on the 6th rank, you lose, you want to throw your phone out of a window. But at an advanced level, you know, G3 systems in queen's pawn openings are really tough to play against. So consider adding them. This game, though, insanity. Absolutely insane game. I want to look at it from Stockfish's standpoint because I find it actually just more terrifying. This game was unbelievable. So the Magni started game number 2 with a Trompowsky, which really surprised me because I don't think any computer will play the Trompowsky. Okay? Now, G6. Sorry,
That's me.
I have I'm gonna break the fourth wall here. I have sticky notes on the, like I have my thing where I'm recording, but then And I'm gonna tell you the funny things that the Magni said in this game, and one of them happened on the move G6. G6 was not played there, I just read the move out. Like, you know when that happens, like you're walking, you see something, you're like having a conversation, and you're like, yeah, you know, I really like that tomato, because you like saw a tomato, or what, you know, you meant to say like, I really like that thing, and then you just slide it into your sentence. That's called something. I don't know what it's called. It's like the same phenomenon. It's not the same phenomenon, but it's like you look at a word for too long and then it starts looking incorrect. Anyway, another very interesting thing, they play knight c3. I play this with white. This is a system where you put your queen like this, and it's very aggressive, and you try to castle long. c5 is a very interesting line. Knight c3, super interesting. So they start immediately attacking Stockfish, which is super funny. Stockfish plays e6, e4, knight f3, and now they're just gonna go long castle and attack. Now Stockfish here can strike back. It can already begin creating counterplay, but it plays d6, very cagey approach. The position really resembles a classical Sicilian after knight c3, here bishop g5, this is called the rouser, and then, you know, it basically looks like this. And black puts these bishops behind these pawns, a6, a6, rook c8, and it looks like this. Well, the position we get in the game kind of looks like that. It's got a very similar structure where it looks like e4, c5, and it looks like kind of a Sicilian because black doesn't have a c-pawn. So, you know, it doesn't look that different. And now we have long castle, and when you try to attack Stockfish, sometimes it stubbornly defends itself, and sometimes it says, you want to fight, you got to fight. That's what we're going to do. We got to fight. It says, I'm not going to castle because I see what you want. And sometimes in these positions, it's actually better for black to keep the king in the center. It's the fascinating thing about the Sicilian defense. There's some variations. The king hiding behind its own pawns is safer than going somewhere, because sometimes if you castle somewhere and then you try to like fight back, let's say h6, well, I guess I just castle, let's say like bishop d3, h6, you're gonna lose. Like, you'll just get checkmated. And positions in the balance, because there's some absurd ways to defend it, you know, yourself, but this is, nobody wants to play like this. So plays queen a5. Now the Magni shocked me. They didn't play king b1, they didn't play bishop d3. The Magni sacrifice a pawn here, a full pawn to open up black's position. So they are taking the fight to Stockfish. Now, you can't take with the pawn apparently, because bishop b5 is lethal. Get the knight, get the rook in the game. Sensing that they are under attack, sorry, that they are, I keep mixing up who's who. Sensing that Stockfish is under attack, it decides to trade pieces. So the more pieces that get traded, like knight for knight, the less chance Stockfish has of getting checkmated. Knight takes e5, now queen takes e5. Not opening its own king, and when the check arrives, it doesn't offer a trade. Stockfish makes a conscious decision to move its king. And it's basically saying, y'all are trash, y'all attack is trash, good luck. I prefer to keep my pawns like this, and you want to see an attack? You're gonna get an angry AI coming your way. Look at the position though. Castled king, rooks on the files, bishop sniping, queen lurking, knight ready to go, all for one pawn? This is a terrifying position for black, whose 4 of 7 pieces are on the home rank, the 8th rank. Queen f5, f3, defending itself and ready to go g4, ready to get the queen and the bishop out of the way, and g4, h5, just trampolining these pawns forward. Stockfish plays h6, kicking out the bishop goes. Now it plays a6, kicking out the bishop, because it's the only thing it can do. But what about bishop d3? The bishops are going back to reset for another wave of an attack. Fascinating stuff. The queen goes for a queen trade. Stockfish goes for a queen trade. Here was stuck between all these moves. Stuck between queen here, queen there, queen there. It really couldn't decide. It was all about balance. It offers a queen trade. If you're gonna attack somebody in chess, you can't trade the queens. The queen goes back. And now Stockfish looks silly because it put its queen directly in the line of attack. Oh my God, what is it doing? I got news for you. It's not doing anything. Bishop d7. It's like, come get me, you clowns. Come get me. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. That was a great movie, by the way. I love Watchmen. Rook c8, b5, like all of it. It actually thinks it's going to attack the Magni instead. So here comes h4. It could have played g4, plays h4. Stockfish plays rook c8. Completely unconcerned. A lot of moves are possible here. Like, it thought about trading first, and it's all like within the same. It's about, you know, from equal to -0.1, -0.2, plays rook c8,
And now it goes to a5. Directly into a discovered attack, which doesn't actually do anything because queen a2 is fatal. So queen a5, and now the Magni play a preparatory move, which is king to b1. And now Stockfish has a major choice. At this point, it realized that white's attack is actually very powerful. Stockfishes are a little bit bad, sometimes a tiny bit bad at like the 3700 level of going, oh, I see. Yeah, that might be a problem in 20 moves, especially with piece placements. Like sometimes it thinks a piece placement is fine, then it goes, oh, it could be problematic. If I had like Google computer servers here, it would not, but you know, I got the browser. So instead of that, it plays d5, which is a really bold move. Instead of d5, it could have brought its queen back to the home square, which is deranged, like I can't even imagine. And then it basically will take, put the knight there and do this, cocoon, and say, I'm still a pawn up, you clown. I'm still a pawn up, but then f5 would have ripped the position open. Knight to d5 would have come in. You would have grabbed the bishop. You would have tried to put the bishop on the dark squares. It would have been crazy. But instead of that, Stockfish says, come checkmate me. d5. Completely, it just allows the pawn to come in, and then it plays knight e8. It plays knight e8, and the Magni push this pawn and say, all three Magni have evaluated this position as advantageous for white. Barely. How black's position is not completely collapsing is beyond me. For any human, this is game over. Game over for black. You take this, you open up your king. Look at that. I don't even have to take. I want my knight there. Unfortunately, there's no non-stop flight, so I'm gonna have to fly boom, and then to Istanbul, and then to g6. But it's still winning. So instead of that, f6. The pawn is actually in white's way. White doesn't want the pawn there. White wants the open lines. But the knight is still gonna go for the journey. He plays knight e2, and here the Magni said, the Magni cannot agree on a move. For good reason. Because here, f4 is good. Knight b5 is good. Bishop f5. What is that? Giving up the bishop to take on d5 and take on e7, sacrificing the rook. There's so many good moves in this position. The Magni literally are beside themselves. They can't decide. Knight to e2 is played. The bishop... Oh my, I told you this game was absurd. The queen is hanging, but instead of moving it, Stockfish counterattacks. Because if you take the queen, there's no further damage, and if you take this, you attack the rook. If you want to survive an attack, trade the queens. But trade the queens intelligently. You go here trying to trade the queens, I kick you out. Incredible. Bishop c5, both queens slide out of danger. The attack continues to pour forward. Black's move in this position is unfindable for a human. Unfindable. Unfindable. Black's entire concept here is unfindable. The knight arrives, putting pressure on this and this. Any human here reinforces this. Any human. The best move in this position for black is to play h5. Now, if you had the attention span to survive 24.5 minutes in this video, thank you. You're very appreciated. But now I'm going to really show you how beautiful 3700 ELO chess is. So we have this position. Black's king is stranded in the center of the board. This rook has no connection to the pieces. White is creating a very powerful attack where basically every piece is involved. And yet, the best move is to play pawn to h5. And the best move for black is to play pawn to h5. Because it prevents the knight from arriving on that square to perch and pressure. Yes, but Stockfish is preparing for the end game. Stockfish knows that in a distant world, it will survive the attack. It will neutralize white's initiative. It will trade a sufficient amount of pieces. And when its knight gets there, or the bishop goes there, that pawn will be a liability and f5 will be played. It's not just about the knight coming to h5, because there's going to be a situation also in the future where h5 is played and black can't get out. Black is suffering, trying to breathe. And there's going to be sacrificial ideas on the pawn when the knight moves, and this pawn will be able to promote. So it plays h5, which is so crazy. And I'm telling you this because I'm from the future. I'm telling you this because it might happen. Queen to h3. The Magni put pressure. Knight to c7. Rook e2, rook e1, applying so much pressure. Bishop a3 is a checkmate threat. The bishop goes back to defend itself. e5, breaking open the center. The queen is under attack. Bishop f5. counter-attacking this bishop. The knight is hanging, but you can't take it. You can't take the knight because bishop d7, there's checkmate threats, so you go bishop b5. White's knight goes out of the way. It's 0-0-0, but it's so complicated. It's so complicated. Black's king is under massive pressure. White's king is under counterattack as well. The bishop goes to b4. What? What about knight takes? Yeah, then I take the rook. What about this? Well, then I take the knight. And it's still equal. White's attack is still so powerful because what is this guy doing? Black is basically playing without a rook. But instead of that, we have rook d1. All right? Now here there's so many crazy lines. Oh my god. It's all around the same evaluation. Black can go bishop c4 here, which Stockfish thought was bad after f4, e4, sacrifice. And look at this. Look at Stockfish thinking, uh-oh. And it's under too much pressure. You sacrifice material, but you open up all the lines. Bishop takes. Rook takes. The bishop drops back. White plays a4 for some reason. Because I guess you're trying to just take space away. And now black is lost. Black is lost because you can't get the rook into the game. So you are playing down a rook. Insanity. So instead of bishop c4, we have bishop e7. Now we have bishop d2 and bishop c4. Now we have a move that I can't even begin to explain, which is this. Again, a4, taking space away from black, maybe threatening to trap the bishop. Queen c6. Stockfish says, go ahead and trap my bishop. I wanted to trade it anyway. I wanted to get rid of the knight. What? Why would you want to get rid of the knight? What about the queen coming in here? Yeah, now Stockfish says, I'm attacking. b5. Oh my, this is nuts. Who's gonna lose? It's like two heavyweights. A takes b5, knight takes b5. Now, the Magni play a move that is unfathomable to me. Unfathomable. I think two powerful bishops, two powerful rooks. Let's continue the attack. No. The Magni go for an endgame. They take the knight. They take the knight. They want to go for an endgame and transfer in the queen. So now the threat is rook takes pawn with the weakened king. So you know where black moves? King e8. The position here looks absolutely horrible for black. Black still can't get the pieces into the game, but black might get a queen trade. Somehow, black survived. The house made of cement survived the big bad wolf, blowing and blowing and blowing and blowing, and it survived. f4, right? Trying to create e4. Now the best move there, this was the last chance for Stockfish thought bishop a5 was strong for the Magni. And then after something like rook d6, rook d3, and maybe trying to transfer in like this, you can't really go d4 because now this is very powerful. f4, e4 worked in the past, but that was when the pawn was back there. So Stockfish found a series of moves here that would have weakened its position quite considerably and would have given some good chances to the Magni, but still you would have tried to trade the queens. And then there's this rook sacrifice, rook e5. Just straight up sacrificing a rook because of queen f7 mate. Insane. Look at that. Just beautiful. f4 though, e4, we go to an endgame. Queen trade. The Magni finally win their pawn back. Finally. But look at this. This is so unbelievable. This is the 44th move of the game. 20 moves ago, Stockfish played h5 in the middle of a massive apocalyptic battle with its king and rook and knight all on the back rank. It played h5 because it had a feeling that 20 moves into the future, there was a hope. That is insane. And I got news for you. It gets even more insane than that because it wins the pawn. It chucks this, that, and king safety just for its pawn. It plays rook to h6, and this is insane. It plays rook to h6 to attack the pawn on g6. But what is its plan after rook b6, bishop g7? Its rook is trapped. And if it wanted to invest in the pawn, why didn't it just go here? Well, then there would have been this right away. And if you play h3 and try to run away, I go check. I will win your rook. Bishop here, h2, and then I have this, and I'm actually checkmating you in many lines. You're actually getting checkmated. And then this pawn is very strong as well. So instead of that, first Stockfish goes here. And it goes there. Because now, it can push. It couldn't do it right away, because the bishop would have had to block. But by putting the rook up, it allows the rook to die. You've been... What does he say to Snape? Sorry, if mute now if you don't want Harry Potter spoiled. You've been a good and faithful servant, Severus, but only I can live forever. H3, H2, and the difference is that the king can get out and the pawn is too slow. G7, H1 is a check, and then I stop the pawn. Watch as Stockfish performs gymnastics to escape. Rook B8, we would have gone King D7. Now you may wonder, what about Queen? Queen C2 and Bishop F6! That's the problem. It's insanity. So Rook B8 check would have led to King D7, Rook B7, King D6 or King E6, Rook C7, and maybe this is equal? Maybe there's a way to draw this? That's probably what the Magni should have done, but they blunder. The Magni blunder, which is, Magnus would never blunder here. So this is like clearly an AI that is just programmed to do some stupid stuff. It makes a queen, and then it goes to this endgame of rook and bishop versus queen. But it gets even more ridiculous. I think the Magni thought this was a draw. The Magni idea was to give up the bishop for the pawn and make a draw. And what I mean by that is, let's say E2, bishop H4, E1, take, rook C4 is a draw. This is a draw. You may wonder why. Well, a queen can beat a rook, but I got news for you. A queen can't even beat a rook and a pawn sometimes. And 2 pawns is good enough, and 3 pawns is even better, because this is what we call a fortress. This is a defensive fortress. The rook is defended and creates an impregnable defense. Now, let's say white plays king b2, king e7, king a2, king f6, and black walks their king all the way to g4. You look at the eval, it's actually getting bigger, and then there's going to be an idea to sack the queen. So something like queen f4 or weakening the position, maybe, but it might be a draw. But guess what happens? For whatever reason, Stockfish makes a knight. It makes a knight because it assumed it would be taken. And the Magni didn't take the knight. They actually might have made a draw, but for some reason, see, if you make a queen, it's gonna take, but they didn't. The Magni malfunctioned in the endgame and allowed the knight to survive because I guess they thought they just got some sort of weird horizon effect. The knight completely broke the AI. And they're gonna lose. Of course they're gonna lose. There's a whole nother piece on the board. So black circles and circles and gets the knight in and finally picks up the bishop and gets the pawn. And this is winning because it's just the passed pawn. It's not, there's no defense. And Stockfish 16 advances, doesn't make a knight that time, surgically wins. What a weird set of games. I mean, that first one was a fascinating, pawn sacrifice, positional grind. This one was chaos. Stockfish accepted a monster attack for its opponent for the cost of a pawn, simplified the game down into an endgame, made a queen. It was probably still equal, but the Magni blundered in an endgame. And if you enjoyed this, I'm happy to make these two play a 10-game match. It'd be fascinating to see if, maybe the Magni can win, but Stockfish is the AI overlord. I mean, there is no denying it's so powerful. It does some crazy stuff. It takes crazy risk, and it plays to the crowd. Hopefully you enjoyed, because I really, really enjoyed these games. And I look forward to making some more, so Stockfish remains undefeated, undisputed. For now. Get out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2023, and chess bots are a trend right now. Some of them are really good, some of them are really bad, some of them provide excellent meme content for you and I. But in today's video, I forced Google Bard to play ChatGPT in chess. It was insane. And I'm gonna show you the game. It has one of the craziest plot twists. If you think you know plot twists, you don't know anything. Really. You think, oh, stalemate, checkmate, this and that. You don't know anything. You have no idea what you are about to watch. And that's why you're here. Say hello to one of the greatest chess games, a 10-dimensional chess game, if you will. This this is, oh my god, this is sensational stuff. So the game begins, Google Bard is white, and Google Bard plays e4, which is a good move. In fact, they played a pretty normal opening. It was e4, e5. So far, so good. ChatGPT responded with the move e5. Now, there's a lot of things you could do from this position. This is, in fact, the starting position for many, many millions of chess games that have been played worldwide. And it's from here you can play knight f3, you can play the Vienna, you can play some gambit, and Google Bard plays knight f3, attacking the pawn on e5. ChatGPT responds knight c6, and we have bishop c4. So far, so good. I mean, so far, this is looking like the 50 to 100 million games, if not more than that, online, offline, that have reached this position. And from this point, black has two major options. Bishop c5 and knight f6. Knight f6 could potentially lead to fried liver. It could lead to the Traxler. Disregard this. It thinks that it's confused about who is moving, which is, I think it thinks it's black's move. It doesn't really know what it's talking about. But it's okay, we can keep this here for now, just for entertainment. Of course, there is this, there is the regular Italian, and then of course there is bishop c5, just this typical Italian. Now, here the shenanigans begin early as ChatGPT regrets playing e5 on move 1 and plays e6. Now, the fascinating thing about this position is, if pawns could go backwards, like let's say if a human had a pass every game, they could move one pawn back one square. That's it. At any point that they wanted. This would be a fantastic move because you block the bishop, and now white is playing bishop c4 against a French defense. So the move d5 is possible. So actually, ChatGPT has just created like an opening that nobody could have seen coming, right? This is why we disallow pawns from going backwards. Once they've made their choice, it's like in Pokemon, you know, if you chose the fire type, you can't get the Squirtle. You probably can, but that's a terrible example. But you get what I'm saying. In the early stage of the game, you can't. Anyway, it plays e6, which is a fascinating move. Now, not to be deterred, Google does not go backwards, does not Google plays d4. It's a great move. If you can put two pawns in the center of the board without getting captured for free, you should. If you have to trade, it's fine. Now, personally, I thought that the idea of e6 was then to follow up with d5. I was unprepared for ChatGPT's next move, which is playing a gambit by returning the pawn to e5. This is really interesting stuff. You gotta really understand this stuff. If you don't understand this stuff, you know, that's your loss. You clearly don't get what's going on. And Google Bard, by the way, was not thrown off by e5, e6, e5. In fact, in this position, it simply took the pawn and said, all right, well, you're trash. Now you're down a center pawn, which is important because a center pawn negates your development. And I can also play moves like this. And Google Bard was cerebral enough in this position to sense the weakness in black's position. So d takes e5. This is kind of like an England gambit, you know? d4, e5. The England gambit? Yeah, well, you know, we played e5, then we played e6, then we played e5 again. We call this the hesitation gambit. We call this the step back triple gambit. Anyway, so at this point, ChatGPT realizes, all right, it's messed around a little bit too much in the opening, and it plays the move knight f6. Now, make no mistake, knight f6 is an atrocious move because it blunders the knight. But Google knows best, and Google knows that it's already made multiple moves with the pawns in the opening. It's better not to take the knight. It absolutely is the best move to take the knight. And instead of that, in this position, it plays short castle. So white has now castled the king. Excellent move. Getting the king out of the center. Knight takes e4 here would be a mistake because of the move queen d5, which would simultaneously create a battery there and hit the knight. And that is why in this position, ChatGPT plays d6. Now, all of this would make a lot of sense if the knight was not hanging. Actually, these moves would make plenty of sense if the knight was not hanging. But the knight is hanging. Now, here, I don't really like Google's next move, if I'm being honest. A little bit tame of a move for AI overlord. It doesn't develop. It doesn't do this. It doesn't take the knight.
it plays bishop b3. That's a little bit of a lazy move. That's like a, you click the piece and, you know, it's not, nothing changes in the position. But of course, ChatGPT could take the pawn on e5. Instead, also, I don't like ChatGPT's move, a6. I mean, really, are we just finding squares where no piece is standing and just trying to put it there? But who am I to judge? I mean, I'm an international master, and this thing these two AIs are probably geared up to be the brain of the world soon. Not in chess, but in other things. All right, now at this point, Google Bard started one of its 3 attempts at ending the game. You see, Google Bard is set on, I guess, dominating AI and who knows, maybe the planet. So in this position, Google Bard plays Queen H5. Now, Queen H5 is a weird move for a few reasons. It's a weird move because you can't teleport through a piece. You can't kangaroo over a piece either. You don't have science fiction abilities, and you're also not a kangaroo. It also hangs the queen. But what it does do is it threatens mate. Google Bard was actually cerebral enough to locate the checkmate, Queen H5. Now, ChatGPT played G6, which blocks the attack and threatens the queen. Of course, it could have taken, but, you know, it's like 300, if even. Now, Google Bard plays Queen takes F7 and declares checkmate. Game over. Game over. And that's that. Queen takes, I mean, okay. Is Queen takes F7 checkmate? It is. Absolutely. Queen takes F7 in this position is the end of the game. But it's not allowed. You can't do that. And I'm willing to allow some illegal moves, but only when they affect your own position. I am not willing, and here ChatGPT actually lodged the formal complaint. It wrote to FIDE, and, you know, FIDE, it did not know. Instead of that, instead of Queen takes F7, White decided my queen is hanging 2 different ways, so the best way to protect my queen is to make a knight move on the other side of the board that does not protect my queen at all. Happens. Now Black played H6. Now, if you want me to explain that move to you, that's not my job. My job is to make the moves on the board and commentate them and for you to laugh. Are you laughing? Good. You laughing at my hairline? Or are you laughing at the moves? You can laugh at both. H6. You know, I've seen better moves. White now plays Bishop E3. Now, by the way, White's last 2 moves of Knight C3 and Bishop E3 are actually great moves. If you put aside the fact that there has been a knight hanging for half the game and the queen can be captured 2 different ways, like if we just conveniently forget about that, this is actually great stuff. This is great stuff. This is like, if you have a kid that gets a 75% on a test, but the alternative is failing out of school, that kid should win a Nobel Prize. All right, like that's excellent stuff. So Knight C3 and Bishop E3 have been fantastic. And now, unfortunately, Black plays G5. We actually see a mouse slip from ChatGPT. It doesn't take the queen. Pawn to G5 played. And you don't take the queen. And now things start getting real spicy. All right? Things start getting real weird here. First of all, White plays the move Knight takes G5, which, by the way, is a great move. Utilizing the pin and putting pressure on F7. What Google did not see coming here was Black's response. In this position, Black, to defend against checkmate, eats their own horse with the move Queen takes F6. That is crazy stuff. Sacrificing your own horse. Can we get a rest in peace, please, for the horse? To defend against checkmate, Queen F7, and also put the queen on the chopping block. But now mate is not possible. But here, truly in AI form, seeing the way that Black just ate his own horse, or her own horse, or its own horse, or their own horse. I really don't know how. I don't know how ChatGPT identifies. Queen takes F6. Google AI also learns from the AI and plays Bishop takes G5. All right? So both of these 2, Queen F6, Bishop G5, eating their own pieces alive and attacking each other. This is nasty stuff. This is nasty business. Knight is under attack. Queen is under attack, excuse me. Now, after Bishop G5, in this position, ChatGPT plays bishop e7. Now that is a clean hanging of the queen. And you would think that white played some idiotic move? No. Google Bard snapped back to reality. There goes gravity and took on f6. White is up a queen. White is in great shape. White is completely winning. And now we have bishop takes f6. Now here comes the second time that Google tries to end the game. You ready? Queen f7 is of course still there. In this position, white plays the magic card Monster Reborn and plays knight takes f6 check. Whoa. And when I asked where did that knight come from, what square was it standing on before it took on f6, Google told me d3. So it spawned the knight to d3, it hooked it up with black pendant, all right, and then it played knight takes f6, boom, and it's a check to the black king on e8. This is really bad stuff. This is stuff that we did not see coming, all right? And now ChatGPT plays the move king to f8. Now here it gets even more dank, as for the second time in this game, Google tries to end things on the spot and plays knight g7 and declares checkmate. It says checkmate, you lose, good game. Here I had to bring Google aside and say that's not mate. Not only is that not mate, it's not check. You suck. I mean, literally, that's not even a check. The knight does not even see the king. And, Google reconsidered and said, all right, fine, I'm still going to go here, though. Fine. Black plays the move pawn to f6. Queen f7 is mate, but, I mean, this is basically like two people who are having a bar fight, and they're both about 8 shots in. I don't think they're going to remember anything. Now, here, white plays the move pawn to d5. There is no pawn on d5, so pawn to d5. Spawns and attacks the knight on c6. Black plays knight takes e5. Now, pawn to d5 is not a good move for a few reasons, by the way, if I may. The pawn spawning on d5 is not a good move because you block your bishop, so there's no mate now. So actually, white is like not as winning as they were. Although, what I did not see coming was the Euro step of the pawn into empty space that follows on the next move. D takes e6. And now black plays c6. c6 is a nice move. Nice move, covering a couple of squares on d5, b5. And now white books a transatlantic flight to get the queen to the other side of the board and plays queen to b3. That's a tough move, sacrificing the bishop's position for the queen. The queen now goes to b3, but I actually feel like the bishop might have been moved to another dimension, and that bishop will be making an appearance back. More on that later. Here, black plays b6, so connect 4 has been obtained. Actually, ChatGPT has won a game within a game. White now respawns yet another knight on f3. White now has 3 horses. Beautiful story. And black here plays the move pawn to e5. So black has now created a pawn wall from f6, e5, d6, c6, b6, a6. Nice job here repelling the white forces. And I love Google's next move, which is simply rook e1. This is a fantastic move. Just a nice little improving move using what you got. Can't complain about that. Now, here things start getting a little weird because black starts avalanching every pawn they have forward. Illegally, but in a hilarious way. First, black plays the move d4. And white plays the move c takes d4, which makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you want to remove the pawn that's attacking your knight. Now, remember that knight that used to stand in the center? Well, it reappears. Knight c5, attacking the queen on b3. Beautiful stuff here from ChatGPT. I mean, if white is going to teleport the queen, you might as well attack the queen with the knight from the other dimension. Now, here, a little argument happened because Google played bishop b5, and ChatGPT refused to capture the knight because it thought that there was a king in check on e8. So it's like, I gotta move my king out of check. Now, it's not check for a few reasons. Number one, the king is not on e8. Number two, if the king was on e8, the knight would have been attacking it for the entire game. Number three, there was a pawn on c6. So a pawn being convinced a little bit. Knight takes b3 was in fact played. A takes b3, and now black plays pawn to d3. It's kind of just trying to sneak a pawn in the back rank of the opponent, maybe looking for d2 and pawn takes over here. d3 is a nice move, but what ChatGPT had not prepared for was the rule bending. Like, this has been a pretty... this game has had a high integrity thus far. Here, Google just E takes D3. I mean, really? Backwards pawn moves? That's what we're doing now? That's kind of sickening, if I may say so myself. This is really gross. So, seeing that that square had just been freed up, we have pawn to E4. But this time, that same pawn goes forward. I mean, this is disgusting. Really? You have a pawn that can capture backwards and forward? What is this, the Deathly Hallows? This is disgusting stuff, as Google is just lawnmowering these pawns here. E takes D3, D takes E4, and now the F pawn flies down the board and boots the knight. But white plays G takes F3, and white is looking to be in good shape. ChatGPT is down 10 points of material. It looks like it's more than that. I don't even know how it's less than that. Now something happens that not a single person could have prepared for. This is the final two moves of the game. Google AI Bard versus ChatGPT. In this position, ChatGPT plays the move pawn to G3. Google, sensing the danger, plays the move pawn to H5. And in this position, ChatGPT plays bishop c8 to e2. This absolute ridiculousness caused Google AI Bard to end the game. Meaning resign, right? No. In this position, Bard claimed a draw. Bard claimed a draw by a repetition of moves. In chess, if you make the same move back and forth 3 times, both sides shuffling their pieces, it's a draw. But, I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. That is a repetition of the position. The game is a draw. Wrong. Play a move. I apologize for the mistake. And it restarted a game. In this position, Google Bard was so stunned by the move bishop to e2, not only did it claim a draw by 3-fold repetition, it said, I'm not playing. I'm done with this game. We are restarting. So the next time they play, we will switch the colors. Google AI will play black. I mean, this is sensational stuff. This is the real world championship. It's half a point for both sides as Google AI incorrectly claims a 3-fold repetition in a position where it has a 9-point material advantage, and then it storms out. It refuses to continue the game. This is sensational stuff. I don't know what the International Chess Federation rulebook says about this, but these two, they do not conform to such a rule book. The first game ever by Google AI and ChatGPT has concluded in a controversial draw. Twitter is blowing up. It's incredible stuff. Let me know if you would like a rematch in the comments, and get out of here.
Mas pinasaya kasi mas pinarami. Like the new Jollibee Mix and Match combos. Choose from your Jollibee favorite.
The 2023-2024 NBA season was one of the craziest, weirdest, and funniest seasons we've ever seen.
What's going on with that? Wow.
Zion Williamson, he looks fat. He looks fat. If you take his brain out and you put it in the bird is going to start flying backwards. Okay, you got that, Joe Mazzulla?
I called him a TikToker. Yeah, I got a tech.
I'm sorry, before I finish.
We're so true.
Do I subscribe to you? I do not.
So you can't interview me then.
But now that it's all over, it's time to revisit this crazy season and all the moments that defined it. With every NBA season, the craziness always begins and sets us up for what's to come with the NBA offseason. And this offseason was especially wild because a 7'5" alien, Victor Wembanyama, was set to make his arrival into the NBA after being drafted by the San Antonio Spurs at number 1. Once again, the Spurs getting lucky in the draft lottery, allowing them to take a future all-time great big man at number 1. History loves to repeat itself, but 500 miles north in Oklahoma City, another lanky big was ready to make his debut season in the NBA after having to sit out all of last year with an injury. Chet Holmgren would be fighting for that Rookie of the Year award just as hard as Victor, a race between a unicorn and an alien. What a time to be alive. Every NBA offseason though is full of its trade rumors and free agency rumors, and it was the Boston Celtics who got us started with the trade season as they sent off former Degenerate Flopper of the Year award winner Marcus Smart to Memphis in a 3-team trade, where they received Tingus Pingus from Washington. The Wizards were then involved in another blockbuster trade a day later, sending off Bradley Beal, blowing up your team the year after the Wembanyama draft. Genius fucking plan, guys. But Bill was sent off to Phoenix for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and some draft capital. Of course, with CP3 now being older than NBA YouTuber 2 for 1, he now had no role with the rebuilding Wizards, so he was sent off to the Golden State Warriors in a trade for Jordan Poole. After Draymond rocked his ass in that practice a year ago, their relationship remained damaged, so the Warriors were forced to make a choice between Draymond and Poole. They chose 33-year-old Draymond. But there were also many trade rumors around two big star players in Damian Lillard and James Harden. Dame requested out of Portland after 11 years of not having a shot at a championship, and James Harden had a whole lot of drama with his GM Daryl Morey, because James Harden and his camp wanted a deal for 2 years with Philly with the team option on the second year of his contract, and his camp was under the impression that Harden would receive that. Philly said they would make a strong offer when they were allowed to, but Harden didn't buy that and he wanted a trade. Harden thought that trade was going to happen fast, but it didn't.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say it again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of again.
And these statements ended up getting James Harden fined $100,000 by the league.
What do you want James Harden to do? Send that to them in pennies? Mm-hmm. He don't care. It's $100,000. That ain't nothing to James Harden.
But still, there was no deals going through for these two players. Instead, we saw a couple smaller moves like Obi Toppin getting sent to the Pacers, the Mavericks getting Grant Williams, and the Hawks trading John Collins to Utah after they realized that they don't want to pay a Trae Young alley-oop merchant $25 million a year. And free agency itself wasn't all that eventful, with the biggest name Kyrie Irving choosing to return to Dallas after playing alongside Luka Doncic after rumors of him potentially joining the Lakers or the 76ers. And the Boston Celtics gave Jaylen Brown a new contract, which now gave him the richest contract in NBA history, $57 million a year, and everybody was talking about how bad this was. But just under a month before the season was about to get started, the big name star trade market finally heated up.
88 days ago, Damian Lillard requested a trade out of Portland, and today our Adrian Wojnarowski reports that he is on his way to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Finally, after months of waiting, a trade was made for Damian Lillard in a 3-team deal. The Bucks sent away Drew Holiday and draft capital to Portland, while the Suns also got involved, sending DeAndre Ayton to Portland as they got Grayson Allen from the Bucks and Yusuf Nurkic from the Blazers in return. And then in a crazy plot twist, the Bucks rivals Boston Celtics then traded for Drew Holiday just a few days later. This becomes even more awkward because before Milwaukee traded him, Drew came out and said that he wanted to be a Buck until he retired. Either way, James Harden is sitting at home upset that he is still waiting to be traded.
It should have been me, not him!
Now that wasn't all from this wild offseason. John Morant got a 25-game suspension after he showed off his fire yet again on a live stream. Victor Wembanyama already had an entire music fan base hating on him just a few days after coming to America because of this Britney Spears incident. LeBron James came to the realization of how old he is.
LeBron James is the oldest player in the NBA. Your reaction?
And then Jimmy Butler became emo.
This is my emotional state. I'm one with my emotions.
Yeah, that's enough of this shit, man. Let's get to the season. Now, before we get into the chaos that is this NBA season, I want to show you how to get the best deals on tickets to your favorite sporting events using today's sponsor, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 ticketing app out there. I personally used SeatGeek so many times as recently as a week ago. I had to go see Leo Messi play, man, of course, in the Copa America versus Canada, which was just so incredible to witness him play in person. And of course, I'm fully expecting the GOAT himself to lead Argentina to that Copa America final final, which is in Miami. And as you see here, these are the tickets available, which they pull from all across the internet to make sure you're getting a good deal. They also rank tickets for you on a 1 to 10 scale of how good of a deal that you're getting. So you want to look for the green dots, which indicates a good deal, and a red dot indicating a bad deal. And SeatGeek is actually the only site that also allows you to return your tickets before your event using swaps. There's so many big sporting events coming up to witness, such as the Copa America, baseball season, and of course the NFL schedule is out as well. And y'all know that I'm coming through for y'all because you can use my code WillSoTrill for $20 off your first purchase on SeatGeek. Download the app using the link down below in the description and don't miss out on the best deals to go see your favorite players and teams play live in person. Thank you to SeatGeek again for sponsoring today's video, man, but let's get to the chaos. The 2023-2024 NBA season was officially set to begin here in late October, and it began with the Western Conference doubleheader. The Lakers and LeBron James taking on the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals rematch. Much like that series, the Lakers didn't put much of a fight in this one, with the Nuggets winning the game. But Phoenix versus Golden State would bring us a matchup between Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, although it was mostly Devin Booker versus Curry, with D-Book having 32 in a close win. However, neither of these matchups brought in the viewership of a battle in Texas between Dallas and San Antonio. This would be the debut of Victor Wembanyama. He had a fairly quiet game, putting up 15 and 5, but the basketball world was tuned in to see this guy play. Just shy of 3 million average viewers, and it peaked just shy of 4 million viewers, more than the actual opening night games from the night before. And the Spurs actually found themselves in position to win this game, but Luka Magic was ultimately the dagger. But the NBA script really started to cook as we finally got a LeBron versus KD matchup for the first time in 5 years. Kevin Durant scored 39 in this game, being a mid-range assassin like always, and LeBron only put up 21, but he still made the plays down the stretch to be the one coming away with the win. And on that same night out in the East, Damian Lillard would make his debut as a Milwaukee Buck against Philly, scoring the most points ever for a Buck in their debut with the team, 39 points and some clutch plays in the fourth quarter to win the game. You already know that it's Dame time. Also, no James Harden in this game, of course. He has refused to play again for Philly. Oh, and that Luka Magic we saw earlier, yeah, that continued into his second game of the season.
Keep shooting. Right back at you. Shot clock at 5 seconds. Flip it over to Luka. Stare down three. It's on the money again. 14 out of 23 for the floor. Looking for his 8th three. He got it. He got it. 4 seconds. Got it from Kleba. Again late in the clock. In desperation.
I mean, what the hell is that shot? Sometimes there's nothing you can do, and there was nothing Brooklyn could have done with this 49-point game by Luka, cementing himself as a big early season MVP candidate. And staying in Texas, we had another matchup of Texas teams with Houston and San Antonio. Rockets fans really wanting this win after Wembanyama celebrated during the draft lottery after realizing that he would not be going to Houston. But Wemby gave Rockets fans nothing to celebrate as he made some massive plays late in the fourth to force overtime where the Spurs won the game. And Wemby taunted Dillon Brooks after Brooks said before the game that he's just tall. Yeah, NBA players hate this guy because look at what Steph did to him in the next game.
It's the screens to get Brooks off of him. Oh, he crossed him over. Let Brooks fly by.
A new scenery this season, but yeah, everybody still hates Dillon Brooks. We'll definitely be seeing more of that. But something crazy happened on Halloween, and I'm not talking about Victor Wembanyama having the most accurate Slenderman costume of all time, or Giannis being the Hulk.
Did you find yourself channeling your inner Hulk tonight?
Yeah, at times. I'm doing this for my kids, man.
It wasn't any of that. It was the trade that finally broke after months of waiting. James Harden was finally moved, and his new team will be the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers now had Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. I mean, imagine that team back in 2017. In his first press conference, though, Harden went viral after saying this.
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
And his comment wasn't looking good. The Clippers went on to lose their first 6 games of the new James Harden era, and he was getting cooked.
Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
By the way, this guy went on an entire 2-minute yapathon about James Harden and how he's the problem. I know this is a long-ass video, but look at the time that I'm saving y'all. That wasn't the only hating going on in the media, though, because Shaq wanted to push his damn Wembanyama Bobo gimmick.
He's never seen a guy like Wembanyama. Yes, you have. His name is Bobo.
You think
Bobo?
Let me finish my point. They both black or something?
Then in Wemby's very next game, he went on to drop 38 points on the Phoenix Suns while Bobo sat on the bench the whole game collecting a DNP. Looks like somebody done took this one personal. And soon enough, we got our first shameless officiating moments of the season.
Giannis' his third block, he's gonna take it. Oh, hey! A hammer like nobody has! they called a technical foul on Giannis, that's his second, and he would be gone for the game.
And he's out. He's gone.
He's going to sit down in the front row. Watch.
They really ejected this man over a stare down. Launch an investigation on this white man right here immediately. Giannis obviously couldn't believe it. I mean, look at the guy. Just at least let him watch the game courtside. But on that exact same night, Anthony Edwards got himself a tech for the exact same thing.
Finding Edwards, driving.
Oh, get out the way! Technical foul is called.
I mean, come on, what you want from these guys? You want them to be robots like Kawhi Leonard? Let these humans show basic emotions after a great play. They earned it. On the other end, though, you have Draymond Green, who started choking out Rudy Gobert after a fight broke out in this game between Minnesota and Golden State. This will land Draymond Green a 5-game suspension, with the league just getting tired of his antics and history of being insane. And you're probably thinking to yourself right now, what in the hell is that basketball court? Well, this right here is one of 30 new courts that each team has for the brand new in-season tournament the NBA introduced this season, which we'll get more into that in a bit, because after 6 straight losses since adding James Harden, the Clippers finally broke their losing streak because of James Harden.
Harden. This is for the lead.
Oh, he put it in! Counted on a foul! Oh my goodness!
A big-time shot by James Harden against one of his former teams, but another player was set to play their former team, Drew Holiday, against the Milwaukee Bucks as a new member of the Boston Celtics. Drew came to the Bucks locker room before the game and everybody was happy to see him, and despite shooting 1 for 8 from the field, Holiday's Celtics did come away with a 3-point win. But the Celtics were blowing Milwaukee out for a lot of this game. It wasn't until the 4th quarter where they started turning up to make this a close one. But that was a trend so far for this Bucks team. They just played terribly through 3 quarters, then suddenly become the greatest 4th quarter team of all time. Such an interesting basketball team. Down in San Antonio, there was another star facing off against his former team, this time Kawhi Leonard versus the Spurs, who didn't have the best exit from San Antonio, so fans still felt some type of way about him as they started booing him at the free throw line. Then Greg Popovich had a +1 respect moment.
Excuse me for a second.
Pops on the mic.
Stop all the booing, let these guys play. It's got no class. It's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
I'm telling the fans to lay off Kawhi Leonard.
But now in Phoenix, we visit a classic rivalry. Obviously, not the Suns versus Warriors. I'm talking about Chris Paul versus Scott Foster. Even though it's really not much of a rivalry, Scott Foster kicks his ass every time, and he did it here again.
This has been going on for a good 45 seconds.
This has been going
And now
on
a
for
technical
13
foul.
years.
Scott Foster had enough.
Different than maybe he
Oh, he's going to get tossed. There it is. Scott Foster says goodbye.
He said this has been going on for 45 seconds. This has been going on for 19 years.
We had a situation some years ago, and it's personal. The league know, everybody knows.
And this right here would conclude a wild first month of the season with so much more craziness yet to come. And December got started with some big games out west. The Clippers starting to get back on track after another clutch shot from one of their stars.
Clock is dark. They're down by 2. George wants it all. The 3. Oh my goodness! Hot damn! Paul George puts the Clippers out in front by 1.
Yeah, this team is way too talented to be below 500, and they were beginning to hit their stride. The Mavs and Thunder faced off as well, 2 teams that look like strong playoff contenders so far, but Dallas was getting blown out of this game, down by 24 points in the 4th quarter. But this 3 right here started one of the most insane runs that you'll ever see. They put on a masterclass over the next 8 minutes of play, a 30-0 run, ending off with a 2-way play by Luka Doncic.
Longest run in team history. Oh, straight. Luka just picked the pocket of Chet Holmgren. 30 in a row. 30 in a row. 30 in a row.
But basketball is a game of runs, of course, and over the final minutes of the game, OKC went on their own run, ultimately winning the game. Remember that in-season tournament, though. The group stage games were finally all played over the past month, and the winners of each group made it to the knockout rounds. These 8 teams competing for the title of NBA Cup champion, which would mean receiving this trophy, and of course, everybody's favorite, some money.
Going to get at least $100,000, so that'll make it easier.
Are we getting money now? We got some money?
That's a surprise to you.
The rich get richer.
And Giannis' shot at that money became more likely as the Bucks took down the Knicks to make the semifinal, while the Indiana Pacers made it out from the other side, beating Boston. Out west, the Lakers would defeat the Suns, and the Pelicans got past the Kings to set up the Final Four of the tournament. The Pacers and Bucks game was a close one late in the game, but a run by the Pacers ending with a Tyrese Halliburton dagger was it, and this right here was his celebration afterward.
that's also a sign of respect and acknowledgement for, you know, knowing my history and knowing what I do. You know, when you having your moment, it's important to be careful and to be humble when you having your moments, because you just never know how the tables turn and when they're going to turn.
Then out west, the Lakers completely blew out the Pelicans to reach the final against Indiana, setting up the first ever in-season tournament final. And it was here that the Los Angeles Lakers eventually took control of this game behind strong performances from AD, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, the champions of the in-season tournament, given their medals and some extra hardware for LeBron James with the MVP of the tournament. But from this tournament came some crazy discourse around Zion Williamson and his weight.
I saw the brother go to the free throw line. He looked like he had a belly. You got chefs in New Orleans who love him. They're looking for him. Every chef there wants to meet him because they know he'll show up to their restaurant. The word out on Zion Williamson is that he'll eat the table. I'm quoting. He'll eat the table.
He'll eat the table is crazy, but yeah, Zion has some weight issues now more than ever before. It's become a serious problem, and it's a reason why he's been unable to stay healthy. And Draymond Green was also becoming a guy unable to stay on the court, but for completely different reasons. Bro just swung on Yusuf Nurkic out of nowhere. This man, donkey, whatever he is, he's out of control.
What's going on with him? I don't know. Personally, I feel like that brother needed help. I'm glad he's not trying to choke me, but at the same time, and nothing to do with basketball, man.
Never seen that before on the basketball court in an NBA game. I hope Draymond gets the help he needs.
After a 5-game suspension following his last WWE Masterclass, this one was of course going to be more serious than that. And it was so serious that the league said, you know what, you just gonna get suspended indefinitely. Of course, we'll be seeing more of Draymond later. But we had a rematch of the in-season tournament semifinal between Milwaukee and Indiana. And earlier in the season, when these teams faced off, Giannis dropped 54 points in a loss. This time around, he somehow increased that. This man went out there and dropped 64 points for the first 60-point game of the season.
241 says no one will score 60 or more points this season.
And he did this without making a single 3-point shot. Like, look at this shot chart right here. Nothing but pure dominance, man. I love it. But the main storyline from this game was a huge dispute over the game ball. Giannis wanted the game ball after scoring his career high and breaking the Bucks single game scoring record, but the Pacers had taken it for themselves to give to Oscar Tshiebwe, who scored his first career points. Who the fuck is Oscar Tshiebwe? Giannis ran into the Pacers locker room and there was a big argument between everyone, and Giannis ended up getting a ball back.
Can you confirm that you have the game ball from tonight?
I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea. I have the ball, but I don't know if it's a game ball. It doesn't feel like a game ball to me.
Yeah, we were witnessing potentially the start of a new rivalry here, but Giannis was averaging 51 points per game on this squad through 3 matchups so far. Unbelievable. That defense simply has no answer. A couple nights later, we had 2 game winners in the same night.
2 seconds left. Butler step back for the win. Yes! Jimmy Butler delivers the victory.
Probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down.
Shea was leading this OKC team to a pretty strong start so far as the 2 seed out west, possibly another strong MVP candidate. But finally, after over 50 days, fans across the NBA got what we had been waiting for, the return of Ja Morant. And it was electric. He dropped 34 points in the game with many of his sensational acrobatic finishes in a game that went down to the final possession.
With a chance to win it in his return. Here goes Morant. He spins. Morant scores.
I'm a dog. I put work in day out. And
And Memphis went on to win their next 4 games with Ja Morant back. His impact was showing quickly. December 25th was rolling around though, which meant a Christmas Day slate of games. And while it wasn't the best lineup, that final game of the night delivered as Luka Doncic went crazy. He dropped 50 points and had 15 assists, kicking the Suns' ass once again to give them some PTSD for the holiday season. But the holiday season wasn't going too good for one fan base in particular, as over the past months, they had been watching their team lose game after game, literally every single game. The Detroit Pistons lost their 27th straight game at home against Brooklyn, where they were getting booed by their own fans. And the next game was against the Boston Celtics, who had the best record in the league, so everyone was expecting that streak to continue on to 28 games. But hold on, man, the Pistons were actually playing good basketball. They were up by 24 points here, just to blow it all away in the second half and head to overtime where they would eventually lose. We believed in you, Detroit. What the hell was this? But eventually all things come to an end, and it was finally time for for that to be applied to the Pistons' losing streak. A close win in Toronto ended their 28-game nightmare.
Thank God, you know, finally. And guys were screaming. I was almost in tears.
This loss for the Raptors also came on the same day that they decided to trade OG Anunoby to New York. They'd have Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett coming into the team in return. But to end off the calendar year, Ja Morant gave rookie sensation Victor Wembanyama and the fans what he called a late Christmas gift.
That's, you know, what everybody wanted, so my gift, late Christmas gift.
But January was set to be an even more wild month in the NBA. Things were only beginning to heat up. Scoring was about to get ridiculous. Two great offenses started us off in the new year between Indiana and Milwaukee, that brewing rivalry in the Central Division. This time, Giannis only scored 30 points and the Bucks lost the game. And only 2 days later, they had their chance at some get back, but they let the Pacers score 142 points in a game. Ridiculous. 272 points scored between the two teams. And now the Bucks were 1-4 on the season against Indiana.
And you think about it. Now, when you go back home and you sleep and you wake up, you think about it. Now, when you go back and work out, you think about it. When you're about to get freaky at night, you think about it. You know?
But we ain't done with the Bucks shits yet, because the next day they came down to Texas, where Will Sotrill himself was in attendance to see the first matchup of Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo. It was special.
Fake a spin, stuff inside. Look at them guard one another. Trying to poke it away. It's 10, 12 for Middleton. Wembanyama. Oh, goes down. And puts it down. Lillard out of the Kumbo. Antetokounmpo outside. Under a minute to go. Giannis drives. Drops the sledgehammer. He's going to be able to guard him. The screen, the drive. Oh, it's knocked away by Wembanyama.
So many amazing plays in this game by these freaks of nature, and it went down to the final possession as well. Definitely game of the year up to this point. 44 points by Giannis, 27 points by Victor. But you know what? Let's check in on what's going on with Draymond after all the things he's done this season.
I had a conversation with Adam Silver, commissioner of our league. I just told him, Adam, it's too much for me. This is too much. It's all becoming too much for me, and I'm going to retire. And Adam said, you're making a very rash decision, and I won't let you do that.
Well, damn, this man was about to call it a career, but everyone around him convinced him otherwise, and he would be reinstated after his indefinite suspension after just over 10 games without the team, so that meant Draymond's return was imminent. And just when we got Ja Morant back and he had been playing so well, a shoulder injury that required surgery now put him out for the entire season. Extremely unfortunate season in Memphis going on. Bad officiating made its return though, with the Toronto Raptors being on the unfortunate end of it, and their coach was pissed off after the game.
Happened tonight, this is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. And this is not happening first time for us. Scotty Barnes is going to be all-star. He's going to be the face of this league. And what's happening over here during whole season, I've been holding it back. It's a complete crap.
He wasn't having any of that, man. You got to respect him calling it out. Hopefully somebody paid off that $25K fine he got in the mail, though. Both 1 seeds were set to face off in a big game here with the Wolves and the Celtics, and it was an amazing game, going down to an overtime finish where Jason Tatum put the finishing touches on the game. A statement win by Boston, and they had a chance to make it 2, with the Milwaukee Bucks up next on the schedule. But to put it as lightly as possible, they got their ass kicked, man. It was already 73-38 by halftime. This game was over to the extent that Boston didn't even play their starters in the second half. They just waved the white flag after 24 minutes. I mean, the game got so bad that TNT had to make the executive call to get that shit off of the broadcast. They couldn't have this game up. The Bucks took this momentum into the next game, beating the Warriors before having a very eventful game versus Sacramento. This game was already extremely high scoring. Both teams just decided to say forget defense for the night, and then Mike Brown completely lost his shit on the sideline. He was pissed off with the referees, leading to an ejection, and we'll hear more of why. But this game went into overtime, and it ended in typical Damian Lillard fashion.
3 seconds, Dame pulls.
Just another clutch moment from one of the clutchest players in the league, and it got us this great photo. Y'all gotta chill on my guy Thanasis though. He don't got internet, man. You don't really know what's going on. And in the press conference, we got to hear from Mike Brown, and his ass came with the receipts. He got a whole laptop presentation for us. I ain't never seen this before.
Fox barely puts his hand on Dame's hip. Okay, incidental contact. He didn't push him or anything. He barely puts his hand on there, and they give him 3 free throws.
Over in Memphis, without Ja now, they definitely had to have some more guys step up for them, and the youngest player in the league, G.G. Jackson, did that with 23 points off the bench in a win versus the Warriors, and he had the opportunity to get interviewed after the game, which gave us a wholesome moment.
G.G. Shaq here. I don't have any questions. I just want to say congratulations, young fella. You played a hell of a game, and if people didn't know who you were, they know who you are now.
Well, yes, sir, it's an honor to get to hear your voice. Appreciate you.
Under a month away from the trade deadline now, we saw the Raptors make another trade, this time sending off their star Pascal Siakam to the Indiana Pacers, a big move for Indiana that could definitely push them into the playoffs. This month of January would be so full of big-time highlight plays and huge performances as well, starting off with Anthony Edwards, who can fly.
Edwards! The explosion to the rim!
On that same night, we also had 2 game winners.
3 seconds, 2. DJ. For the win. Got it.
Bridges comes out with Simons. Here is Simons for the win. Drives into the lane, running right.
And DeJounte wasn't done yet. This was in the very next game.
Here comes Murray. A 3 for the lead. He made it with 2 seconds left. DeJounte Murray.
And on this same night, we saw one of the NBA's most entertaining superstars get real creative.
Fun game here in the Twin Cities. Look at the moves by Edwards. Swashbuckling and slamming.
Which gave Joel Embiid some inspiration.
Right half Batonze. I think Embiid might have been watching Ant Edwards play a little hoop last night.
In Joel Embiid's next game, he would get his first look at Victor Wembanyama, and bro couldn't believe how tall he was.
What are you looking forward to the most with this being the first time Joel is taking on Victor?
We're going to hammer his ass.
Yeah, Joel Embiid wasn't fazed at all. He went out there and dropped a new season high for any player with 70 points. 16 of those 70 were scored on Wemby himself, but this now made Embiid the 9th player to ever record a 70-point game in NBA history. He was solidifying himself as the MVP favorite. And on that night, there was another big man who had a career game. Karl Anthony Towns went off having a 62-point game. Yeah, we had entered that stretch of the season where everybody just starts scoring like crazy, and it wasn't stopping because Devin Booker had his own 62-point game against the Indiana Pacers. Everybody's running up the numbers on this team, but somehow they won the game, meaning Devin Booker now has losses in 2 games, scoring over 60 points. That's wild. But that wasn't even the highest scoring game of the night because Luka Doncic had to outdo that man, and he even outdid Joel Embiid, a 73-point game on the Atlanta Hawks. Just pure insanity. Now, of course, there was already a lot of craziness around the Milwaukee Bucks season so far, but it got even crazier because after starting the season with a strong 30-13 record, they fired their head coach Adrian Griffin, who had apparently lost the locker room. With his departure came in Doc Rivers. The Bucks did all the NBA fans a service by getting this man and his raspy-ass voice off the microphone.
It was a one-time thing, but when I was in San Antonio...
Don't nobody want to hear that shit, man. Over in San Antonio, Victor got his first look at their bat problem. He'll be getting used to this, and I wonder if he'll knock one out the air like Manu did that one time. But this extraterrestrial later shocked everyone by beating the Defensive Player of the Year favorite Rudy Gobert with a sham god. A 7'5" player doing a sham god. We're in the end game, man. This basketball shit is over. This Timberwolves team was balling though. They had the 1 seed in a big matchup coming versus OKC, who was the 2 seed in the conference. Despite 37 points from Shea, the Wolves did come away with the win, continuing to be the top team in the conference, but Anthony Edwards was not happy with the officiating in this one.
Around a team effort, and I'm gonna take the fine because the refs did not give us no calls tonight.
And he did take the fine for that, but $40,000 is crazy. A matchup between the Warriors and 76ers got us the world record for the fastest foul, and of course, it had to be Draymond Green doing this. Come on, man. But Joel Embiid suffering a knee injury was the story of this one. The MVP favorite now likely out for a decent amount of time, meaning that MVP award would become impossible for him to win with the new rule of a 65 game played requirement to qualify for all the awards. Very tough break for Joel Embiid. But But these events right here would wrap up the month of January with lots of crazy plays and high scoring games, all leading into the All-Star break. And the month began with the announcement of the All-Star teams with 4 new faces all in the Eastern Conference: Scotty Barnes, Paolo Banchero, Tyrese Maxey, and Jalen Brunson, which led to an emotional moment for Jalen Brunson.
The night started with you being named to your first All-Star game. Talk about the journey you've been on, MVP chance, and you're going to the All-Star game.
I got nothing to say. I got nothing to say.
Another All-Star reserve would be Steph Curry, who dropped a 60-point game right after it was announced that he was a reserve. Surprising to not see him be a starter, but 2 MVP candidates in Shea and Luka were just having better seasons. We had some more Dylan Brooks antics the month before between him and Tyrese when he stood over him in the middle of the game trying to be a menace. But Tyrese Halliburton, he remembered that, because after hitting a big-time dagger against the Rockets, he was talking shit straight to Dylan Brooks. Look, he just brings it upon himself, man. Over in Milwaukee, the Bucks were having a rough start since hiring Doc Rivers with a 1-5 start, much different from their 30-13 record before. And with the trade deadline coming up, they were a team that was expected to make some moves. And they did. Not the big moves that people thought was going to happen, but for Patrick Beverley, which is funny just because of the past that him and Damian Lillard have, and now they're on the same team. Although, of course, both players ready to put everything from the past to the side, coming together trying to compete for this championship. A few other smaller moves happened at the deadline. Dallas getting Daniel Gafford, the Knicks getting Bojan Bogdanovic, 76ers getting Buddy Hield, and Dallas getting involved again, acquiring PJ Washington.
Light tanks rushing to base.
With Dallas being the 8th seed in the Western Conference and in play-in contention, they were definitely looking to get better, and being active at the deadline was going to go a long way for them. Draymond Green was back in action against Yusuf Nurkic for the first time since he whacked the shit out of him, and they were getting physical, going at it all game. And after scoring on him, Nurk did the 2 small gestures, slapping the floor, and a minute later, Draymond Green did the exact same thing, returning that favor. But Curry put the end to this one.
Curry comes free, gets the ball, puts up a 3-pointer.
That's just a Curry shot. There's not much you can do about that. Checking back in on Victor Wembanyama, he was going crazy against the Toronto Raptors, recording 10 blocks for a triple-double with block shots. He's simply just not real, although still in a tight race with Chet Holmgren for Rookie of the Year with all the winning going on in OKC, but Victor was going to have something to say about that later this month. Now it was time for the All-Star festivities in Indiana, beginning with the celebrity game where these NFL stars took over the game. CJ Stroud was balling, but Micah Parsons put the broomstick on the other team to win the game and the MVP. And then we had the Rising Stars Challenge between these 4 teams. Obviously, one of these looking completely overpowered, but they somehow lost to the G League team. Those guys were trying their ass off out there, man, but they did lose in the final. The Skills Challenge took place between these 3 teams, and Anthony Edwards came out there trolling. This man was taking shots with his left hand. Of course, his team lost the challenge immediately. Scotty Barnes had his funny moments, and it was the hometown team winning the Skills Challenge. The 3-point contest had a wild first round with a 4-way tie between Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, Karl Anthony Towns, and Damian Lillard at 26 points. It was Halliburton who was eliminated in the tiebreaker round, and the final round was Dame time. He scored 26 once again to win it. Then we had something new, the 3-point challenge between the NBA's best shooter Steph Curry and the WNBA's best shooter Sabrina Ionescu. Sabrina shot first and she lit it up, man. 26 points, matching the highest score that we have seen in the 3-point contest before. But the GOAT shooter came through